Dude, I love the setup. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, eventually I'm gonna try and put together like an actual studio.
See, my setup, like I use the office. I've been using the office because I just think the backdrop looks better
Yeah,
than my apartment, and the lighting's a little funky in there. But I don't know. I feel like the office is for like the more professional guests,
I
and
agree.
then
Yeah,
the apartment studio is for like the boys kicking it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That was kind of like what I feel like this one can pass as both. Like it's the home one, so like I can have people here. The only thing I get worried about is like inviting people over who are like, wait, am I going to your house? That's a little weird. Like you're the first person I had on that I just met, and I'm like, how's that gonna go down? If I'm like, hey, I've never met you before, you can pull up to my house.
Yeah.
People are like weirded out because I know people who would get weirded out by shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
hear
wouldn't.
ya.
I'd be like, what's the worst gonna happen? It's
What,
gonna
am
be
I gonna
some
lock
nerd
you
on
in
a
the basement?
podcast. Yeah, yeah. Like,
I've done some episodes with people. Like I did one with this dude Mike, who I had never spoken to before until he showed up at my house. Dude, we chopped it up for like an hour and a half.
yeah,
It was great. It was phenomenal.
yeah, yeah. Like, I get no problem. I mean, like I said, most of the people have either been here or like know me, so it's been cool. But yeah, I mean, eventually, like, I'll put this. I want to rent a space somewhere, like I don't know, Salem, Manch, something like that.
Yeah.
And I want to actually put together a whole studio.
See, once I have a house, I would just dedicate an entire room to like a recording studio.
Well, that's what I was believing. That's what I was gonna do when I bought that duplex. I was gonna use the basement
Yep.
as like a studio office, and like I ended up just flipping it and not staying in it. But I'm like, if I stayed in it, dude, that thing I would have been able to write off like 80% of that square footage.
Wow.
Like all the whole place. It was like 2 bedrooms, so one of the bedrooms would have been an office, the other one would have been a studio.
Mm-hmm.
I just done shit like that.
Man, write-offs.
Yeah, dude.
See,
we can get into write-offs.
I need to start learning about that because being in real estate, there's so much I don't know as a new agent. Like I feel like I'm trying to learn how to swim still.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for a little while now, but there's still so much you don't know.
Yeah.
Something another agent that I go to the gym with, I forget his name. I think it's Matt. Something he told me was every deal's different, and it stuck with me, and it really resonated with me because every deal is different. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
The way you get the client, the way you service the client, how long you're following up with them for. Maybe they follow up with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? And then when you get to the deal itself, whole new ball game.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, or clients sometimes like I had clients that hit me up in the middle of our search and they're like, "Hey, we're buying an investment property up in Maine." I'm like, "Okay, how
cool.
are you funding this?" Like, we're going conventional, or non-owner occupied conventional. I think it was like a 3-unit. I'm like, well, there's my answer. I'm like, I guess your search is over. They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, awesome.
Yeah. See, I followed up with someone today and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got a rental." I'm like, "Cool. When's your lease up?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, we're going month to month." I'm like, "Smart move."
Yeah.
Smart move.
Yeah.
I'll touch base with you again in the spring.
Yeah, at least you can follow up. It's like not like a year goes by and it's no point
Mm-hmm.
in following up, and then you follow up in a year and they're like, "Oh yeah, we broke the lease or something."
See, I try to get personal with my follow up too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be just the business guy slinging deals. Obviously, I do want that because that means more money. But I want to build relationships with people. You know, like I want to be able to work on just referrals someday because I've built up such goodwill with so many people that they send their friends and family and coworkers to me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that sphere, like when you don't have the sphere, that's the age group that's going to be buying. I think I was just talking to Andrew about this the other day too. Like either you don't have the sphere because they're not old enough.
Yeah.
Like we're 20. So
Yeah,
like, we're not
exactly.
gonna have
All
a
my
sphere.
friends are in college right now.
Right. They're not going to be buying for another 4 or 5 years, depending on what college they go to, maybe
Mm-hmm.
even longer. But like same idea with Andrew, who's like whole family's in real estate too. So he's like, my sphere is taken up by my established family.
So you got to build your
So
own
it's like
sphere.
you got to build your own sphere. So like that's kind of like what it sounds like you're doing. It's just building your sphere of essentially strangers.
Yeah,
turning them
and I
into,
mean,
like,
I know a
close
lot of
friends.
people from in town from the bartending for so long. So
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to have had that opportunity to like meet so many people in the city I live in and establish so many connections. But I think a lot of people get into it and they're like, they just think they're just going to start slinging deals. When no, it doesn't work like that. It really
Watching a
doesn't.
video today about that. It was
like you got to build the sphere.
Yeah,
you really
you
do.
have to build
It's
a
work.
sphere.
It's hard work.
And you have to build like the systems because like sphere only works for so long.
Uh-huh.
You run out of people.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you can keep actively networking, but like, what's the point of financial freedom or freedom in general, time freedom, if you're just married to every client you need to like make out of thin air, like out of a conversation that goes on for a year before they even trust you as a friend, let alone someone to represent them. So it's like, there's a point in time where like you build that sphere that you tap into as a bloodline, but at the same time you build your like Andrew's doing he was telling me about all the Zillow leads he's doing.
Yep.
Like you build that system.
Huge
you put
Zillow
that
guy.
Beyond, huge Zillow guy. Like guys like Josh who are putting all the signs up in the billboards, like on those bus stops.
Different strategies,
Different
but they
strategies.
all work.
They all work, and
it's
all
just a
come
matter of
together.
getting leads into the business.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't matter how.
Yeah. Oh, that brings up. This is something I wanted to talk about. So you know Alex Hormozy?
Oh yeah, I do.
Dude, love his content. So he put out a free course, and it's lead generation, and he describes the core 4. There's 4 main strategies to lead generation, and then there's another 4 that's like for advanced, but I'll just go over the first 4. So it's all about how you can tell people about the stuff you sell, essentially. So there's 1-to-1 or 1-to-many. It's a matrix. The first 1-to-1 is 1 to people you know. That's warm outreach. That's calling up your aunt. Hey, Cheryl, you got anybody at work that wants to buy or sell? Hey, you guys ready to sell that house yet? No? Okay. All right, cool. Love you. Bye. See you at Christmas.
Yeah.
I love my aunt Cheryl, by the way. She's a sweet.
Oh, this is a real person.
Yeah, that's actually my aunt.
Nice.
And then the next 1-to-1 is cold outreach. So 1 to someone you don't know. That's cold calls, cold email, cold mail, cold text. That's me calling up a condo community. Speaking of which, that condo community I drove by coming in, I'm going to fucking call everyone there.
Which one?
I don't even know.
Is it the single family one?
I don't know.
Or
I just drove by it on that road. Those 2 buildings, yeah.
Oh, the 2 buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 55 plus.
Okay. All right. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
See, I feel like I have an ability to build rapport pretty quickly with people.
Yeah, and we can talk about that.
Let me finish the core 4.
Yeah.
I'm getting off track, bro. I'm like that dog from Up. Squirrel. And then so that's 1-to-1, warm and cold outreach. Then you got 1-to-many. And there's 2 forms of that. There's organic content, which is social media marketing. That's podcasts like we're doing right now. That's organic. That's posting clips. That's education content. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Doesn't matter. Organic content. Then there's another form of 1-to-many, paid ads. Facebook ads. Google ads. TikTok ads. Doesn't matter. So that's the core 4 that he covers, and he goes in depth on those. And it's a free course. You can look it up right now. Alex Hormozy.
Is it a course or is it like his reading on his podcast channel? Because like he went over those, like he read his $100 million leads book, and he made it into an audio book and put it on Apple Podcasts.
I don't know. It's probably the same thing.
Yeah, it's
to be
probably
honest
the same
with
thing.
you.
But
I watched that. I took so much away from it and immediately implemented into my business.
And that's cool that you did that because like I found it tough. Like full transparency, I found it tough. Like I love what Hormozy says, but like I feel like we're in the same business but the opposite. Because like instead of trying to sell a product, we're trying to get somebody to sell their product. And I'm on the investor side, so I'm trying to get someone to sell their product to me. So it's like it's reverse sales in a way. It's the same concept, but it's like I'm not trying to get somebody to add something to their life. I'm trying to get them to remove it. And how do I get these people to remove
Flip
something?
side of that coin, though, you are adding something to their life. A big old deposit into their bank account.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
I mean, whatever way you slice it, sales is sales. It's simple.
Right.
Simple.
And that's why I'm saying like I like the way that you kind of implemented it because I looked at it in like the reverse way and it was like kind of screwing me all up. But yeah, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, just because I'm taking, I guess the reverse side of that for normal sales is I'm taking money from you and giving you a product versus taking a product and giving you money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay.
It's a lot more long-term, though, real estate sales compared to, I don't know, you're doing lawn care. That's a completely different ballgame. That's like, I don't know if that might be a bad example, but.
Well, that's like
or selling toothbrushes just to throw something out there.
Right.
Like, boom, sale done. Or like e-commerce. It's quick.
Right.
But real estate takes months.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Like for one
there's
lead.
no instant gratification.
No, I mean I'm in a course right now. It's an investor course and a lead gen investor course, and they talk about like your conversion cycle on just direct mail.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 9.5 months on
Yeah,
direct
it's
mail.
crazy.
And like that's not even specifically saying it's one follow-up of direct mail. That could be 5, that could be 10. Like the average cost per acquisition in like the investment space is like anywhere from 3 to 5 grand
It's crazy.
per acquisition. It's
But
like,
when you think about the commission you could get off that one lead, though, it makes
Right.
up for it. You know?
right, yeah. Well, and that's what I mean. So it truly takes money to make money in
Mhm.
this business. Like no matter what part of the business you're in, it's one of the most expensive ways to make money. That's why we're paid some of the best
Mm.
on the planet.
Like you might have to spend freaking $4,000 a month on Zillow to
Yeah.
get those leads to
Well,
convert them.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Or you might have to spend $1,000 a month on Facebook ads
mhm.
just to get high quality leads into your pipeline.
Yeah.
Like you said, it costs money to make money.
Yeah. It's like I said, I'm starting to realize how expensive it is. I just
Mhm.
sent out like between 2 different companies, I sent out 5,000 mailers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking at the invoices. I'm like, it's not about what it costs, what it makes. Not about what it costs, what it makes. But like,
See-
it's tough in the beginning
Mhm.
looking at that.
And when we were talking about the sphere, that's why it's so important to build
Mhm.
and nurture your sphere from the beginning. So when you get established, the leads are just coming in. The phone's ringing, as Pete, my broker, would say.
Right.
Like the phone just rings at a
Mhm.
certain point.
It rings and like, it's free.
Yeah.
Maybe cost you a dinner.
Yeah, you're
or
not paying
2
a
beers.
referral fee on it.
Mhm.
You're not spending thousands of dollars a month to some agency or referral partner.
Right.
Like that's just Susie down the street sending you an easy layup.
Right.
Her daughter. There you go.
Like I wish I had that in this neighborhood, but we got those 2 next door. They're agents.
Yeah.
They're builders.
I mean,
but
it's a
they're
nice
agents.
neighborhood. So.
Yeah, so like it's like anyone who lists in this neighborhood goes right up to their
Yeah.
house. I'm like, damn it.
It's
dude.
tough. I mean,
Like,
you
throw
can,
me a bone or something. Come
yeah,
on.
see, it's tough to convince someone, like, as a young dude, that you're capable of doing this. And you have to kind of lean on the fact that you're young, you're a hustler, you're going to work harder than all the other agents that have been doing it for a long time. Maybe you I hate to give up the commission, but say, hey, maybe I'll do it for 0.5% less than they're doing.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you don't want to
yeah.
race to the bottom, though, you know?
No, exactly. I mean, you don't want to
'Cause you gotta value yourself.
short. Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't want to come off as desperate either. Like,
Uh-huh.
hey, I'll do this for 1%. It's like, why? I get you're young, but like, why discount yourself that much?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's that fine line between working with people who have some skepticism and saying, okay, well, in return, I'll cut 0.5% off, versus cutting too much off and them saying you're not valuing yourself enough. You're not as confident as I'd hope you to be. But yeah, I mean, it's just all
And
in
see,
all.
I've made that mistake too. Like
You have?
one of the first listing leads I got, I'm like, boom, 4%. Yeah, I'll take it. But like in looking back, maybe I should have been started at 5.
Right.
You know? So
Right.
it's tough.
Right. So
Were you saying something? I think I cut you off.
no, that was probably a dead end
Okay.
anyways.
Beautiful.
But what I was gonna say is you're no longer Vodka Steve, is what I
yeah,
hear.
man, I don't work at the bar anymore.
So that's new. That's like the last couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, probably a month and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's a long list of reasons why. I don't really want to get into that. But
Okay. But you closed some deals, so we'll talk about that.
yeah, so I had my first closing last week.
Congrats, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm excited, brother.
Yeah.
I want to pursue this full time now and make the most out of it, because that's the way I do things. I don't go in half-ass. I'm all in all the
Right.
time. I
And-
bring the energy, bring the confidence to
And
everything
you're at
I
the
do.
right brokerage for that.
Oh my God, it's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Those boys have taught me so much,
Yeah.
and my mentor Chelsea too. Unbelievable. Like I would not be able to do the things I'm doing now without the support systems I have in place.
Right.
Like those people, I owe my business to them. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah. It like anyone, because I had Case on too.
Yep.
And was like I've had a bunch of the boys from that office on, and we talk about the same thing every time, and it's like it's still fascinating to me, because like you guys are lucky, like super lucky to have that sphere,
Mm-hmm.
like just within the office. Like, you know, it's I don't want to say it's like a frat. Like we said that last week. It's not a frat in the bad way, but it's like the connections that you boys have with each other is like fraternity brothers.
It's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it's funny to see.
We motivate each other. We motivate each other to be better. It's a competition almost.
Yeah.
And there's no bad blood. We all just want to see each other win. It's that simple.
Right. It's funny because you all kind of compete in the same markets too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I
like
feel
Andrew's coming into Josh Andrew's coming into Josh's Zillow area or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like it's friendly banter.
You're creeping on each other's like ad spend or whatever. But it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because it's like you all compete in the same area. There's more than enough business to go on in that area. But it's also like it's sort of helpful, and I say this because I've heard entrepreneurs talk about this. Like they wish that there was no competition. They wish that they were the only business in the area that did what they did. And I'm like, okay, now you're trying to convince people why they should pursue your business versus which business should they pursue. Instead of giving them an option of which one should they choose, you're trying to convince people, like in our area, you're trying to convince people to sell, right? Versus who do you want to sell with? You're better off giving them the option, who do you want to sell with versus do you want to sell to me or not? So what I mean by that is like, if people are looking to sell and they're looking online, looking on Zillow, just looking for an agent, and they see like 5 or 6 guys all from Realty One Group, now they have the option in their mind. It's not do I want to go with Realty One Group? It's which agent do I want to go to through Realty One Group?
Now that's a fascinating point you just made.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
almost like why gas stations open up next to each other.
Right.
Kind of the same principle.
Same idea.
You know?
Same idea.
It's like, oh, this is the spot to get gas.
Right. Exactly. It's like which one do you want? And that's why like you see gas stations, it's like a 3-cent difference, and that's just them going back and forth, like the friendly banter you were talking about. So I look at it as like the same idea. It's like if I'm looking up agents in Manchester, a few of you are bound to pop up.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many. There's so many younger guys. And the reason I say that too is because you're all using the same lead gen, which is the modern day technological lead generation. So you're bound to show up on Google, multiple of you. So that's what I think is cool too. Like you all have the same like Realty One brand logo, and so I think that gives you an upper hand as well.
I mean, I want the competition too.
Yeah,
I don't want to be the only guy. I want people motivating me to be better.
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of the young guy out of the group. And I feel like it motivates them to be better because they see me and I'm right on their heels.
Right.
And they know that.
Right.
So, and then when the next person comes in, I know they're going to be on my heels and that's going to put my ass in gear.
Right. Like you, it's like, it's fun for a little bit, I think, being the new guy or the young guy. And then eventually that ends, that tenure's done. And there's somebody else who's got the new spotlight, and it's a matter of like maintaining and like, using them now as the barometer of competition. And I think I was listening to one of your podcasts, and you guys were talking about competition. It might have been with Josh. I can't remember who it was with. But
I've done so many, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm like scrolling through. I'm like, geez, this is gonna be a few months before I hit. What are you at 30 now or something?
27.
27.
I've been trying to decide if I can count this as one all day.
Well, you'll get all the footage.
Yeah.
If you want.
I think it counts, bro. This is mids only.
Absolutely. Yeah. Brand it yourself. I mean, that will be up there. Like you'll see the unestablished tycoons, but yeah, take this one.
Yeah, that's a battle I've been having all day.
What is if you could?
Yeah, if this counts, I don't know. I think it does. I think it does.
I don't know. I mean, unless you want to have me at the studio and then we'll do one for yours, it's up to you.
Or we'll just run it back and post it on both again.
I'm with that too.
Yeah.
I'm with that too. Because I genuinely love sitting in this room and just
podcasting is so fun.
So
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what made you start it?
I've gotten that question before, and to be honest with you, I don't really know why I started it.
Oh.
Like I told you before we started recording, I draw a lot of my inspiration from Joe Rogan. I've always been a big fan of him. I was doing a lot of TikTok at the time when I started it. I was just literally just throwing up clips of myself speaking. And I was like, okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. And then I was like, let's start a podcast. So I just did it. I just recorded the first one with my buddy Kyle, just for shits and giggles. It was fun. I liked it. I was like, okay, let's do another. Starts to get a little more traction. People are hitting me up. They're like, yo, let me get on. And I'm like, okay, this can be a thing.
Yeah.
And where I'm at now with it, I want it to be a part of my lead generation strategy. I want it to be an essential element of the business. Because when I first started at Realty One Group, they were doing this training with it was a Ryan Serhant course. He's like a big time real estate guy in New York. And he says your brand is real estate and X. So boom, light bulb goes off in my head. Real estate and podcasting. Because you can't just be blabbing on about real estate all day, every day. People are going to get bored.
Right.
But the podcast, that's the X factor.
Yeah.
Because you can bring in variety to that. And that's something I do through my guests. I'm the real estate guy. I want to keep that presence. I want to stay top of mind with people. But if I'm having an interesting conversation with someone who you might be interested in, maybe now we pay attention to Steve.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, exactly. And like, whether it's like direct lead gen or it's building a foundation, because it's like you were talking about how we're kind of on the same wavelength. That's exactly why I started it too. I was like, I want it to be a foundation that I build over time. So
it builds up social proof.
That social proof is the term I always use. I say I want to be able to direct people to my website. I want to be able to direct people to my Instagram, my podcast, my YouTube channel. I want to be able to direct people because I'm not a natural sales guy. Not in the least. I'm an analytical guy. I have no sales bone in my body. I can turn it on if I need to, but like it's not natural to me. So I think that like for myself, it's better if I'm, instead of trying to turn on the sales factor when I'm talking to people, I could just direct them to the social proof instead of telling them about it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the idea behind this too. And I love what you do because like you loosen it up a lot. You talk to people
it's
about
mids only, baby.
It's mids only. You talk to them about
that's what it's all about.
Dude, it's
like
the name's so funny too.
I know, I can't ever change it. I can't. I don't care what people think. But like at this point I've had such a wide variety of guests on, and I want to continue expanding into as many different areas as I can.
Yeah.
Like I've had my buddies on. We just chop it up. I've had real estate people on. I've had this girl Sophie who does radio. I've had professional athlete Trevor Knight. He was my most recent one. Played in the CFL.
Yeah, I listened to that one. That was good. Yeah,
Trevor's a great guy.
Yeah,
I had Jermaine on. Dude spent 27 years in prison. Crazy life story.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I had to listen to that one.
Dude, he comes over to my place and just like tells me his life story, and I'm just fascinated.
Yeah. That's one of those where you're just like, it's like a Steve Bartlett one. You're just like, okay, I'm just going to listen this entire time.
So you got to ask the right questions, let him go, let him speak.
Yeah.
And just boom. It's magic.
Yeah.
I think the podcast though, it's such a unique medium, It's like, it's raw. It's about as close as you can get to a live stream, and it's just real.
Yeah.
There's not many edits. It's just sitting back talking.
No, it's like it's bringing like audio up to line. That's just about it. Like I don't know if you've noticed it though. Like I'm a perfectionist when I edit, so like when I go through, like I'll spend hours and hours, like waste hours and hours on a clip.
Me too.
Me too. Like sitting there, like playing with the exposure, playing with the tint, and I'm like, I go crazy over it because I'm like, this needs to be perfect. This needs to be perfect, and then it never comes out perfect.
It never does.
Never.
Ever.
Never.
And at a certain point, you just got to be like, okay, it's good enough.
Well, because I just go.
Otherwise, you're gonna waste too much time.
That's what I mean, and I'm like, okay, I got to remember, I love podcasting, but I'm a real estate guy.
Yeah.
I can't waste all my time trying to perfect this one clip.
Because it doesn't necessarily always generate sales.
No.
It's like it's a part of the lead gen model.
It's
not the business.
No, it's like the ad spend that you're not going to see for 9 months. And in this case, it's the time and effort that you put into it that it's not going to yield you any results for probably a couple of years.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
In all reality, like I don't expect this podcast to yield me any results for another 3 years.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten a single client from my podcast to this point, and I'm totally fine with that.
Right.
But imagine 3-4 years from now, some client gets introduced to my content and they say, wow, episode 100?
Right.
This dude's talked to all these different people. He must be a great guy. Yeah,
right.
I want to work with him. It's social proof.
I didn't even think about it from that point of view. I thought about the content of it, not even just the fact
that's
that you
another
have
piece.
enough conversations with people. Yeah.
The content.
Right. Well,
it's
the
huge.
content too, and like especially if they see somebody they know, like if it's
Yeah.
like a local, and they're like for instance Joe Farrow. Do you know Joe Farrow?
I don't think I'm familiar.
So he's the owner of Tuscan Kitchen. He's building all of Tuscan
Oh
Village.
yeah, I know who that is.
So like, if I had like someone like Joe Farrow on, everyone in this area knows him. So like, people go on and be like, "Holy shit, he had Joe Farrow on."
Yeah,
like that
see, that's
type
how
of
I'm
thing.
trying to be.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have those couple of like
Mm-hmm.
like guests that are just local heroes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Like Trevor was a good example because I went to the practice field for my old football team. Like actually like the day after I posted that one.
really,
And all the kids are like, mids only, mids only, mids only. Yeah, Trevor on. I'm like, yeah, man, yeah, I did.
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're from Manch. You grew up there?
No.
No.
Merrimack.
Merrimack. Okay. So when did you move to Manch?
I moved out when I was 19.
Okay. But you didn't go to college?
1 year.
1 year.
Dropped out to chase my dreams,
There
baby.
we go. There we go, baby.
Had to.
So where'd you go?
SNU.
You went to SNU.
SNHU, yeah.
Okay, that makes
was a great
sense. why you're
student.
Manch.
I mean, I've always loved school. I'm a lifelong student. Always
Yeah.
will be. You can always be improving, reiterating on your game.
Yeah.
Education never stops. Firm believer in that.
Yeah, it's like, like that's why I'm doing the courses now too. I'm
Mhm.
like, I couldn't sit in a classroom, but I can certainly learn something that I like.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so you dropped out. I love that because you're gonna be a story one day.
Yeah.
Just like all the rest of the dropout stories that
Right,
end up
bro?
turning good. And was that like at the time, was it a ballsy move, or was it like, I know that this isn't what needs to happen? I'm not worried.
See, I feel like I knew I was gonna drop out before I even went. Like straight up. I don't know because COVID hit like 2020. I was a junior. No, yeah, junior. And I don't know, just kind of changed my mentality on a lot of things. I started consuming different content, started getting exposed more to entrepreneurship, and I realized that it's accessible to me. And I mean, I kind of feel like I went just to make mama happy. I hate saying
did
that,
too. Yeah, I
but
did too.
I don't know. I like I said, I kind of knew it was going to happen before I went.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, when I was there, put all the effort in the world in. That's how I do things, all in, all the time.
Right.
Like, if I'm going to be in the classroom, I'm going to get the most out of it.
Right.
I don't care if it's friggin' biology. I'm going to learn that shit. Let's learn about the cells.
That's fascinating. Like, there's very few people I know who could just like sit there regardless and dedicate themselves to just learning the concept versus I like the concept or I don't like the concept.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to shut off, but as this dude I follow on Twitter says, his name's David. I've said this before on podcasts. All information is good information. All information allows you to make better informed decisions. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Like the trivia people who are just like insane at trivia. I feel like this is just a trend with them. Like people who have random knowledge end up also making more logical decisions.
Yeah.
I've thought about
You just
that
have
concept
a
before.
larger set of a larger sample set of data to draw from.
Right.
Draw from.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I was just kind of the same thing. I did SNU, but I did it online.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I went for like 2 months, 3 months. I didn't even.
See, I
do
did a
semester.
full year.
Yeah.
But I just know.
What was your parents' like infatuation with you going?
No, I don't know if they necessarily had an infatuation. I feel like they just wanted me to at least see it through.
Okay.
You know, like see what it would be like.
Okay. So more
Kinda.
the experience of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because my parents were like kind of the opposite. They were like, well, not my dad, my mom. And she was like she didn't get to go to college, and she was still under the impression that the only way you make $1 in this world is by going to college. And she's like, you need to go. I'm like,
It could not be further from the truth.
could not be further. And we had like legitimate blowouts over it for
Wow.
a couple of years. And it got to the point where I made a deal with her. I'm like, once I buy my first house, I get to drop out. Fair? She's like, all right, fair.
Wow.
And so I worked full time, like right out of high school, but I did the SNU online.
Mhm.
I did it for 1 semester, bought the house, and I was like, hey,
it works.
I'm done.
Yeah,
And,
that's
like,
funny.
that was one of the best days. I was like, I still haven't opened that email. I used to get the Outlook emails every day. It's like, hey, Tyler, you still signing up? Still signing up? I'm like, no chance.
Wow.
No chance.
I think I did get some stuff out of it though.
I'm sure. And I even look back now, and I was saying it today to my mother. I'm like, yeah, I would have learned, whatever we were talking about earlier. I'm like, I definitely would have learned. We were talking about economics, micro and macro. And she was like, I wish I had paid more attention to it in high school. And I'm like, honestly, that's something I wish that I had learned.
Yeah.
Like in a college setting. But it's like, you win some, you lose some. It's
a
not
time suck
imperative.
though. See, the
Right.
time I was spending there wasn't worth it to me.
Well, that was it for me too. I'm like, it's not that I don't want to go to college and
Yeah.
experience it, but it's like, if what's a better use of my time?
Exactly.
And then, like, not only am I wasting time there, I mean, I don't want to say wasting. You still get something out of it, but wasting in terms of like what my craft is going to end up being. Wasting precious time there at the same time as drilling myself into an unnecessary amount of debt.
Mm.
I was like, if you were going to pay cash for my college all 4 years, then maybe. But
See, that's part of the reason too I went is because I had a scholarship that was a decent chunk of change.
yeah,
So I was like, okay, let's go. Let's use that.
that's
So,
worth it. That's
yeah.
definitely worth it for people because it's free money. It's free education
It is.
at that point, or a segment of free education.
And maybe had I not gone, I wouldn't be on the path I am today. You
I
know?
completely agree. I think every like it's cliche, but like seriously, every single thing happens for a reason. It has its place, and like there's a reason why you went. There's also a reason why like people are removed from your life. There's that concept too, where it's like people enter your life only to leave it for a specific reason. It's the same idea. It's like you enter college only to leave it for a specific reason. Like it needs to push you over the edge enough. Like that's even how I look at some negative situations. I look at it like I needed this push over the edge. I needed it to get this bad to push me over the edge, to get fed up with whatever it is that I've been doing, to get to the point where I need to go in the other direction.
That's why I don't bartend anymore.
Okay.
Kind of the same idea, you know?
Yeah.
Came to a point.
Yeah, well, it came to a point, and that's the thing. It's not like it was good until it wasn't. It was good until it had no purpose. It was good until it was, more damaging than it was good. Whatever situation it is, but I'm happy to see that you're kind of pushing full time now. I haven't. I mean, I'm still working full time too. So you're a step ahead of me.
See, I don't think so, man. I don't have any houses.
Well, I don't either.
Yeah, because you sold them.
I sold them.
I've never bought one though, so.
But you transacted them. That's good enough.
Yeah. No, like I said though, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I want to see this through. I'm willing to grind for years to come.
Yeah. That's the isolation period of business. It's the reason they call it a lonely game is because you put your head down and like you seriously need to let go of every distraction. When people say like let go of distractions, everyone looks at distractions as bad. And I don't think distractions are necessarily a bad thing. I think that it's depends on like what. So this is like a kind of a rough concept, but like distractions in and of themselves are not a bad thing. Now what it's taking away from and to the level in which it takes away from that whatever you're pursuing, that's where it becomes good or bad. So I think it's like this idea of you need to cut out all distractions as an entrepreneur. It's a legitimate truth. And what people don't understand is that's where the loneliness comes into play, because the distractions aren't, like I said, they're not bad things. They're just other avenues of pleasure.
Yeah.
Right. It's like
Could be a girlfriend.
Could be a girlfriend. It could be like scrolling through Instagram. It could be anything. It for some people
It's an
could be going to the
interesting
bar,
point.
and like that's a distraction. So, and it's imperative that you don't do those things when you're an entrepreneur trying to build and isolate yourself to put your head down and grind. But at the same time, there's a reason why entrepreneurs are also the loneliest people in the world. It's because they don't allow themselves to be distracted by these guilty pleasures that bring them variation in life. And that's what I've noticed is ever since like I've just started cutting off groups of people, I've started cutting off just like various adventures where you just kind of go out and dick off for a day or something.
Yeah.
Like you don't do those things anymore. You regiment yourself, you put yourself on a schedule, and it's great because it's bringing you closer to your goal. But you need to be damn sure that goal is going to happen. Like that's where that confidence, that blind faith comes into play, because if you don't have that, it's going to be next to impossible to push through that lack of any sort of pleasure.
It's beautiful.
You know,
It's about sacrifices.
That's what it comes down to. And that's sounds like what you're kind of getting into. Your phase of your life is where you're like head down, like just grind.
Yeah, you got to have
through.
balance though too, you know?
You do.
Otherwise you're going to burn out.
I agree. Like I don't know. I'm like half and half on that, because I see the point in having balance, but I also think I think of balance on a grander scale. So instead of like a day-to-day balance or a week-to-week balance, I look at it on like
like decade to decade. Yeah,
It's
that makes
like
sense. You work hard now so you can enjoy
exactly
your 30s.
exactly. So
Yeah.
like I don't see myself like this side is so heavy because I see the side of myself at 30 being so heavy in the lifestyle area. So the scale
feel
I'm
ya.
working
Yup.
on is wider, but you know, there is something to be said for having day-to-day balance. Like I go to the gym, and I know a lot of people laugh at me for that. Like, what do you do for a hobby? I say I go to the gym. What do you do for fun? I go to the gym. It's not like the gym for me is not like a shit. I gotta go to the gym. It's I get to go to the gym.
Yes.
Like
When do you go? In the morning?
I used to. Now I go at like 9 or 10 at night.
PM?
Yeah, but I used to go at like 4 in the
you're
morning.
crazy,
I used to
bro.
get up at 3:30 and go and be there for.
See,
4.
my new regiment is like 6:30 wake up, gym, office.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean,
I like starting with the morning. I feel like it gets me right for the day, you know?
in an ideal world, I would hit cardio in the morning. I'd work all day, and then I'd get a lift at night because I
Yup.
feel better lifting at night. But I think cardio is necessary to start your day, and I don't start with cardio. I don't start my days with cardio.
Oh, just to get the heart pumping,
Yeah,
like make you feel alive again, you
Yep.
know?
yeah, that's the type of time I'd be on. It's just like an hour bike in the morning, and then but you know it's just tough. Like I don't, you know, no I know I beat the hell out of this, but like between working full time and my business on the side, it's like 18 hours a day, so there's no time. Like you barely get enough sleep to keep going physically. You know what I mean? You
Let alone eat.
let
bro.
alone eat. Like it's like there's only a certain amount of like physical exertion your body can put out on 5 or 6 hours of sleep every day with like little to no food. So it's like, okay, if I add cardio into this now, I'm getting 4 hours of sleep and I'm still barely eating.
And see, that's just not a sustainable model.
It's
you know?
it's not for the long term.
Yeah.
But like
Maybe you could do it for a week, but can you do it for a year? Probably not. You're going to burn out.
I've been doing it for a while.
You crazy
We've
motherfucker.
been doing it for some months now. But it's it's also like
See, I got to rest, bro. I got to rest. Otherwise, the next day is shot.
well, like the weekends I kind of because I don't do volume. Like I know weekends for agents are like that's
Yeah.
your hot point.
That's when the phone's blowing
That's when
up.
the phone's blowing up. That's when the showings are going. For me, it's not like that. So, on the weekends, I'll work 12 to 14 and I'll get more sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I said, if you look at it on that grander scale, it's like by the time, I'm 28, I only want to have to work like 10 or 20 hours a week.
And you can do that.
And I
Like
probably
you said,
would work more.
The scale of balance
Exactly.
has to be bigger. You just changed my perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't work for everybody. It depends on what people want. You know what I mean? Like it depends on how high your aspirations are because that's not necessary. If I've had a few people on here who are like, I'm good with just being comfortable. Like I'm good with being, $200,000-$300,000 a year, and I'm like, that's awesome. Then you don't need that wider scale because you don't need to work for 8 years like nonstop to get to that point.
See, my perspective is, I just want to see how far I can take it.
Yeah, that's an adventurous one. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So tell me a little bit about your goals. Like,
I'd say buy a house,
Yeah.
buy a car, get married, have kids.
okay,
That's
in
like,
that order.
Yeah, probably that order.
Okay.
That's like, I don't want to say short term because it's not really short term, but like,
Well, here I'll ask the
within-
question I always ask: is 1, 3, 5, and 10 year goal? So where do you
Okay, that's
see yourself in
interesting.
one?
one would probably be, next year I want to try and do like 20 plus, pushing 30 deals. Yeah. And
I like that goal.
I know that's like shoot for the stars,
Mhm.
you'll land on the moon.
Yep.
So I want to shoot really high.
Yeah.
I want to do like 20 to 30 deals next year. Probably try and get to episode my goal for the end of this year was episode 40 for the podcast. So let's say 80,
Yeah.
episode 80
Okay.
by the end of 2024. So that's 1 year. 3 years would probably be buy the house because I'll have 2 years of 1099 income.
Yep.
Probably buy the car by then too. And then
Yep.
what was the other one? 10 years?
5 and then 10.
5? That's when we get married.
Okay.
Within 5 years, that's when we get married.
That's
and then
baller,
10 years
yeah.
have the kids.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I really like that a lot. Yeah. It's,
Another one too. It's always been a dream of mine to open up a bar.
really?
Because I've been in the service industry, like freaking since I was like 15. Started
Okay.
as the bus boy.
Yeah.
You work your way up, expo,
Yeah.
and you're serving, bartending.
Okay.
Like I wanna be the owner. You know, I want
Dude,
my
that'd
own
be
place that
awesome.
people come and hang out.
Mids only.
Yeah,
That's what you call it.
or Vodka Steve's.
Or dude, that's baller. Yeah, I fuck with that. Vodka Steve's.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Yo, you going to Vodka Steve's tonight?" "Yeah, I'll be there."
Dude, that's sick. In Manch?
I don't know, wherever it is, wherever I end up. I love New Hampshire though. It's my home. I'm born and raised.
Yeah.
I'd like to establish a home base here.
Yeah.
Do I want to go other places? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to Germany in December.
Oh, nice. Good
'Cause
for
my
you.
sister lives there.
She lives there full time, or she
Yeah.
abroad there? Really?
Started abroad,
Really?
lives there now.
What does she do over there?
So I don't know what her job title is, but she works for someone over there. Her boyfriend, now fiance, also he is German, so that's
Okay.
kind of why they're there.
Yeah.
They live in Mannheim. I think they want to come back this way though. I would get my mass license just for them if they want to look there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting mine soon too. I
Yeah.
got the course and everything, but I haven't had enough time to get
Yeah.
to it.
It's only so many hours in a day.
It's only so many
know?
hours, dude. I really wish like we just didn't have to sleep, or I wish like you could choose to just.
Oh
like,
man, I love sleep.
I love it too. Once I get in the bed to go to sleep, but like if I never had to get into bed
If you
to
could
go to
just
sleep,
go,
you could just go, yeah.
all the time.
That's what
yeah,
I mean.
that'd be baller.
And like if you could choose when to sleep, so like you make up for it all on the weekend, dude. I would literally work like
yeah, imagine if we were like
24 hour
bears, be like hibernated.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like you hit up all your clients. You're like, don't hit me up for like 3 months. I'm gonna be in hibernation, but I'll be around the clock for the rest of the year. I'd be so good.
I'd be
down
with it.
That. I'd be
I'd
so
be with
good.
it. You take what? December, maybe November, December, January. That's when you hibernate, and then you're just awake
It's wired for like 9 months.
9 months.
Well, I wouldn't want to miss Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
Yeah,
You
brutal.
know what I mean? So I'd probably do the shitty months. Like I'd do like February, March, April.
Yeah,
I know they're the springtime market months, but like fuck them.
you can't take the summer off because that's the busy season here.
Oh yeah, no summer, and I'm a boat guy, so like I only get 3 or 4 months of boating a year. So
I'd
like,
love to have a lake house someday.
Yeah.
That's another goal of mine.
So when
We'll call that 10-year. Get
Yeah.
the lake house.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Like you get that like when you have the family and like you want to, you don't. I feel like you don't go and buy like 7 houses when you're a single dude with no family.
Yeah, what's the point?
It's like yeah, you got a spot to go. Why don't you just rent an Airbnb at that point?
Yeah.
But like, you don't want to cart your family around to Airbnbs, so
Mm-hmm.
you bring them to like the house that you have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But a lake house up in Winnie. In New
yeah,
Hampshire?
yeah, that'd be sweet, bro.
Yeah.
Get the boat too.
We the company I work for, we just built a few buildings up on Paugus Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been up there recently.
Is that New Hampshire?
Yeah, Paugus Bay on I don't think it's Winnipesaukee. It's Winnisquam. No, it is Winnipesaukee. It's
Okay.
in Laconia.
I don't know. I don't know the lakes region too well.
Okay.
So I'm like, I want my spot to be like Merrimack, Manch, Bedford, Nashua. Call it.
Oh,
that.
all right, that little sphere.
Yeah,
Got
like
you.
Hillsborough, like the center pocket of Hillsborough County.
Okay.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit into Rockingham.
I like that. I'm obviously Rockingham, and I love Salem.
Oh, Salem's great.
I love it. Just dude,
They're
it's
doing
so
a lot here
expensive.
too.
So expensive. Like the Tuscan Village. I talked to a bunch of people about it. The 2-bed, 2-bath condo.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's in the nice building right in the middle. They call it the penthouse, but 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet in Salem. Guess a price.
$700K.
Guess a price.
8. 9. A milli?
1.3.
Dude, that is insanity.
Yeah. Yep. Unreal. How expensive Salem is right now.
That's crazy.
It's off the charts.
I mean, maybe because a lot of people look at it as like a suburb of Boston almost. It's not really.
No,
It's a good commute to Boston.
No, if anything, Manch is going to be the new Boston.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess yeah, and that by that theory, but we're turning into our own suburban city.
We really
anyways.
are.
Like,
They're
we're-
doing a lot in
yeah.
Manchester.
Well, and Manch too, dude. Manch, I truly think is going to be like the people who are fed up with Boston
Mm-hmm.
and just like the way that it's treated and just, I mean, Boston's. I hate to dog on places because I love Boston. I love where I'm from. It's a fucking shit show there. It is a shit show. Like, and I'm not even talking about the people. It just the way that those streets are like beaten down and just not taken care of. The trash that's all over the place.
Mhm.
It's like there's so many issues in Boston that I think people who are getting fed up with it. And I think people are going to start moving up to Mitch. I think that's going to be the new
I'm
city.
excited to see the growth that city has over the next decade. And I want to stick around to see it, and I want to be part of it too.
Where do you see it going?
It's gonna keep growing.
Yeah.
Like, that south end of Elm Street, I feel like it's just gonna be a continuation of what the north end looks like.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily the north end, but like that main strip on Elm with the big buildings. I could see that continuing down towards the south end. I want to see more high-rise buildings too.
That's where I think it's going.
Because we don't have a ton of that in New Hampshire.
No, and
It'd be nice to have a city hub like that.
It would. Like the closest thing was Concord, but Concord's 2 out of the way for the majority of the New Hampshire population. Like, I guess it's the same as Boston is from here. It's about the same in both directions, but that's from Salem. It's like, I think Manchester's a good drive for everyone in Hillsborough and Rockingham, and like that kind of sphere is perfect for Manchester. And
it's in like a center pocket of the highways too.
Yeah, dude, everything hits it.
Yeah,
everything
seriously.
Hits it. And I think it's in the perfect spot. But I think what's going to happen is there's going to be one person. It's going to be one giant person, the conglomerate, to come in, build one high rise, and that's going to set it off.
Yeah.
It only
and
takes
then
one person.
A bunch of whole other investors flock to it. They're like, holy shit, there's so much untapped potential here.
Right. But it's going to take someone big enough because like we all know when we say, like, there's a reason why people say to watch all the politicians' trades before they happen, because you're gonna make a shitload of money if you watch what they trade before it. You watch what Pelosi trades or something. Just throwing a name out there, for no other particular reason other than throwing a name out there.
I think it's accurate.
That's exactly. But you go on and see. Same idea. It's like these mom and pop investors, or not even mom and pop, maybe even guys like Axel, Multifamily Wealth, like guys like him who might be looking to get into the development space a little bit. They're going to see a giant conglomerate come in. Like, imagine a Procter & Gamble coming in and building like an office, a giant high-rise office in Manchester.
And see, we need that in New Hampshire. There is no city like that, like Boston. We don't have it.
No. And it's like we flow all our money into cities like that.
Yeah.
Like,
imagine if we just had our own.
Right.
And we can.
It's doable. We have the city's in good shape, relatively speaking. You know what I mean? Like it's set up better than Boston is in terms of the streets.
Yeah, it's just a grid.
It's
It's pretty straightforward.
And so it's ready. It's ready to be industrialized.
There's a lot of old buildings too. You could probably get knocked down. Just saying.
Well, I agree, but here's my thing: is like the cities and the towns, and I talk about this all the time because I've come from the building background, and they need to allow people to start knocking these down.
Yeah, make it easier for them.
Like the Historical Society just stamps their name on every house that's over 150 years old, and it's like, no, you can't touch this. It's like, all right, well, it's sitting on 3 acres in prime Manchester, so I want to touch it.
And it's crumbling.
And it's crumbling to the ground. I can't touch it. I can't even go in and see it. It's just sitting there. Just 3 acres, just tempting me. I don't even have a specific property in mind. I'm just saying, like.
No, I know what you mean.
Some of them are sitting on good grass.
Yeah.
And you can't touch them.
See, I want to see more businesses come to the city too.
Yeah.
And set up shop there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of service, like restaurant type things, but I want to see like legitimate businesses, like maybe tech stuff, set up shop there.
Who was I talking to? Somebody had mentioned it. Maybe it was one of your podcasts where I agree. I think the tech is going to be the next push into Match.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will be the first company coming in, whether that's like, dude, imagine a Tesla came in or something.
That'd be sick.
Something like that where it's like futuristic type tech. I think that would really set the tone for that's the other problem.
Or maybe even if we did more manufacturing there too.
Anything.
Yeah.
Dude, because
just more commerce.
Anything that puts dinner on somebody's table is good.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Anything that's consistent enough and puts dinner on someone's table, because the mom and pop shops are great. I love small business. That's like my bread and butter.
And we can't lose that.
We can't lose it. But it's not as guaranteed as say an Amazon is.
Yeah.
So the reality is you need. I think that a good ratio would probably be from like Manchester business. I think a good ratio would be like 40 mom and pop %, 60 in terms of the jobs that are out there,
Mhm.
right? Not necessarily the land mass that they take, but like the amount of employees, I think 30 to 40% mom and pop, 60 to 70%
Mhm.
corporation. Because I think that you need that guarantee.
Yeah.
I think that it's important to have people who can never really have to worry about putting food on the table.
And if we can offer jobs and employment to people, they will come.
Yeah.
And they will need a place to live,
Mhm.
which means we can put up more buildings.
And I think that if we go in the direction of teach a man to fish, right? Like hand up, not hand out type thing. If we go in that direction, because that's the problem I think most cities make in their beginning stages of trying to revamp their cities.
Mhm.
They don't approach it the right way, right? They try and like the people that are struggling in their communities, they just kind of try and mask the problem, right? Mask the homelessness problems by just like handing them checks or something, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Like
doesn't.
you need to give these people a purpose, and I think this is a great opportunity. I'm not saying Manchester's a horrible homelessness place, but it certainly has
people.
its pockets.
Yeah.
And it's like if we can approach it the right way, for the first people to ever do this, because no one can ever figure out how to approach homelessness problems the right way, and just people struggling in general, give them the opportunities, right? Teach them how to work, give them the purpose to work, right? And I get it, it's easier said than done, but the reality is it still can be done. And we need to approach it the right way if we want to industrialize the city the right way without, again, just kind of revamping it and masking all the problems it has.
Yeah, the homeless one, that's something I've been trying to wrap my head around for a long time, and I don't think there is an easy answer. There's no one size fits all for it.
No.
Like, I think you need to do a lot of different things to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, a lot of it's got to come from within. If someone, like, I've talked to one of my most recent podcasts, I had this dude, Tony, on. He works at a recovery center. Some of it's got to come from within.
Mm-hmm.
If these people don't want it, it's not going to happen.
No, exactly. That's why I say purpose, and when I say purpose,
but if you can give them a purpose,
that's what I mean.
Give them a reason to try.
That's what I mean. Like you can't give them the job. You need to give them the reason why they should work the job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you can provide them the opportunity. I mean, there's help wanted signs all over the place.
Yeah.
But there's still people who stand right next to that help wanted sign with a can looking for change. It's because they don't have they don't have enough purpose within themselves to go fill out an application. They don't have the willpower to do that. And yeah, I'm big on like self-development. Don't be a pussy. Like
facts.
You know what I mean? I'm huge on that. But at the same time, I like to be empathetic to people who haven't necessarily had the best upbringing, right? War veterans, things like that, where people are at a true disadvantage. I'd like to try and do my best within the means of, I always refer back to capitalism, but just within the means of like just not handing anything out. Really working on trying to give these people purpose. Because I don't know if you're a Jordan Peterson fan.
I like Jordan Peterson.
But I listen to a ton of Jordan Peterson, and a lot of what he talks about, that's the baseline, is like giving people their why. Like, why should I do this, right? And like, there's a reason why we always say money doesn't buy happiness. It buys things that make you happy, sure. But the reality is, regardless of what you're being given and what you're being paid and what you have, like, the end all be all is whether or not you have a purpose, and that purpose is clear enough for you. And like, the happier you are, I think, is people who feel more in touch with their purpose. And so I'm big on trying to be empathetic towards people who like genuinely just feel like they have no purpose.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe a lot of it's our modern society and our way of life, that just it gives people a reason not to try, because you can just get zonked out on whatever substance you're abusing. It's so easy to get anything. It's so easy to overstimulate yourself with social media. I mean, there's tons of reasons not to try.
Mm-hmm.
And so many coping mechanisms that make you feel comfortable.
Right.
And it's tough. How do you can't ban stuff. You can't ban TikTok.
Right. It's like the old, like this same idea with why people don't hit their kids. It's like a lot of kids it didn't work for, right? Like you don't take the extreme on people who are already down. You don't kick a man when he's down, right? You try and help him back up. But you hold one arm out. You don't grab him and pick him up.
Yeah.
Right? You make him do most of the work. It's the same idea. It's like there's a certain point where you help, and then your helping gets to a point where you're actually doing a disservice, right? It's like knowing when to pull back. That's why like I'm very critical, and I understand I'm not a parent, but I'm very critical of parents now because they give their kid anything they want. I'm like, believe it or not,
I will never stick an iPad in a child's face.
Hell no.
No way.
No chance. You getting a Nokia just like I did. Walmart Nokia.
Raise them right, baby. Raise them right.
You're getting Pac-Man, and that's even gonna be limited. But like that's how I think I saw this. I brought it up last week too. I saw this Facebook post last week, and dude, I go on these. I hate social media, so I go on these residence pages just so I can post my ad.
Yeah.
And of course, I already need to see some woman bitching about the fact that her son's in school and it's 90 degrees out, and that they should cancel school. And I'm like,
that's the problem. So many people are so soft.
So
nowadays.
soft, and I'm
so
like,
soft
what are you
in our
teaching this
modern
kid?
Society.
It's ridiculous. What is she teaching this kid? She's doing more of a disservice, and I get it. The mother, she wants her kid to be comfortable. She doesn't want him to suffer. I get it. I understand as a mother.
I'm a fan of tough love, though.
I am too, and I think, suck it up. It's 90 degrees. It's school. You'll be out in 6 hours. Have fun. Have a good day.
That's fair.
It's like that same day I was outside working all day in a black shirt and pants.
And you're still kicking.
I didn't die.
Yeah.
I didn't die. I saw guys in hoodies. Like the Spanish workers, dude, they're animals. Like in the best way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, they're like ridiculous. They'll be on an asphalt roof in like hoodies.
I couldn't do it, bro. I'd pass out. I'd
roll off that roof so quick.
Oh,
they're ridiculous. But yeah, she's like, he could get heat exhaustion. I'm like, I think your son's going to be fine. But you're doing a disservice to him by trying to just cater the whole world to him. It's like, let him learn.
No handouts.
Let him learn. No handouts. No handouts. It's a cutthroat world, and that's the thing. It's like, you can control what happens in your house, but you need to be wary enough to understand what happens in the real world.
Yeah, eventually, like, that kid's going to go out into the world, and if they weren't raised correctly, they're going to get freaking smashed in whatever endeavor they do in life.
Right. And I'm sorry, but you as the parent are to blame.
Yeah.
I put the blame on the parent because I do think, like, my parents have always done a great job teaching me about the real world because my house has always been like the real world. Like, they've treated the house like the real world. So I've always known what it looked like. But I see a lot of kids who don't, and I'm like, I don't blame the kid, I blame the parent.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're a product of our environment.
Absolutely.
I've always been a proponent of that.
Absolutely. So how did you grow up? Similar?
Yeah. I mean, I had two parents in the house. So I didn't have to worry about like food on the table. I'm fortunate for that. Very grateful. But I mean, they laid down the law when they had to.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't hit me or anything, but like there was rules. I tried to follow those rules. You know,
sometimes didn't.
Yeah. I mean,
but that's part of it.
I don't think I was a bad kid or anything. I was a great kid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. It's similar. Just like, I don't know. I think there comes a point where
they taught me to figure things out on my own.
That's the biggest part. That's the biggest part.
They didn't hand me anything. They didn't hand me $100,000 check.
Yeah.
They told me go get it.
Go find it.
Yeah.
I'll show you everything that I know as to how, but it's up to you to do it.
Mm-hmm. I think my father instilled a lot of beliefs in me at a young age of like what it means to be a man in this world.
Yeah.
And I hold those to my core.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's that's something that's really not harped on enough is like how to be a genuine good man in the world. And like that goes deeper than just how you interact with people. It goes deeper than how you carry yourself as a man, how you work as a man. I mean, it's all of it. Like it's your persona. And it's the most important part of anybody because like the most dangerous thing is in my eyes is a feminine dude. Somebody who wasn't taught to be a man. Because it's like it's in contradiction to
your biology.
To your biology. Right? Like which I don't want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but
I mean,
it's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I are in agreement on a lot of things. So like,
we probably think similarly. In that fashion. Similar.
Yeah, and it's just I've been grateful. Is really what I can say is I've been grateful for like the way I've been raised, and I've been raised like my dad lives in Mass. He lives in Tewksbury, so I'm in here with my mom and my stepdad. So I've actually learned everything, right? Like my mom and stepdad are corporate people.
Oh, see, that's interesting. You get two different perspectives from the father.
Yes. And that's been huge. So like I'm always big on like nothing in life is perfect. Find the best parts of the shitty parts of your life.
Yep.
Right? And it's like yeah, in a perfect world, my parents would be together, but in our reality, I'm so glad that they weren't. Yes, as cold as that sounds, I'm so glad that they weren't, because I saw my two parents who were corporate people, my stepdad and my mom who were corporate people, and my dad who owns a business. So I got from the business side of things, I got to see it all. My mom works in lending, my stepdad works in software sales, and my dad owns a construction company.
Wow, they give you all the skill sets.
All like the skills, you know what I mean? And so like I'm able to kind of look, but that's the thing.
That's probably why you're doing so well at so young. It's because you've had exposure to these things
so
for
much
so
exposure,
young,
and
so
that's
long.
and I give them a lot of credit for that. Like I give them 90% of the credit for it, because it's like they also never handed me anything. They had all these skill sets, and they barely handed me their skills. You know what I mean? Like it was never like directly spoken about, but it was almost like I had to work for the skills. I had to work for the knowledge, right? Like I'd have to ask them questions and about certain industries that they were in, and they wouldn't like just feed all the information to me. They'd wait for me to kind of understand the concept and ask another question.
It means more if you learn it yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
And at your own pace.
And I think there's something to be said for handing people skills. That's fine. That's great. I encourage it. But handing something to someone that's tangible, whether it's money, whatever it is, it feels like a handout more.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But giving someone the means to go get that tangible thing, I like that better.
And I think it's a selfish act, because, or maybe not a selfish act. I think that handouts are a semi-narcissistic act. The only reason I say that is because you're now betting on yourself to be what that person relies on. Like, so number one, you're betting on yourself. If you're constantly just giving somebody a hand up, right? You're just always picking them up, never teaching them how to pick themselves up. Number one, you're signing yourself up to pick them up every single time they fall down, until you decide that you don't want to do it anymore, which is horrible, because now you abandon.
And then they're going to fall flat on their face.
And no one's going to be there.
Yeah.
So that's number one. You had an opportunity to teach them how to do it so that when you couldn't, they wouldn't fall even further, but you didn't. Number one. Number two, I think a lot of people do actually get a kick out of feeling good about doing something for somebody, and they want to prolong that. And they know that somebody's going to fall down.
I see the
again.
selfish aspect of it from that. Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to call people out for it, because I truly do think that I think it's a selfish act. I think the best thing that you can do is give somebody tough love and say, listen, I'm not picking your ass up. You fell down, you can get yourself back up. If you went down, you can go right back up. You can figure out how to get up. And you know, I think that a lot of the people I've talked to have kind of understood that concept. You know, it's like there's definitely a line. Like, you know, you're not gonna have a newborn who falls over himself on his first steps. You're not gonna tell a little kid, get your ass up. Like, there's a line.
Hey, I might. I'm gonna be hardcore on my kids, bro.
Dude, when they're like just learn how to walk, I might like pull a string in front of their feet, like make them learn keep them on their toes a little bit. But I don't know.
No, but I won't hand things out to my children.
No.
Not until I'm gone. Then they can have the inheritance.
Yeah.
And at that point, they'll already have made it themselves. You know?
That's the thing. You give them the skills.
Yeah.
They'll learn it.
Yeah.
They'll learn it. You know Kathy Russo?
I do. I went through her course
Did you?
for real estate. Yeah.
So Kathy Russo's cool because her parents owned a bunch of investment property.
Really?
And she has like a few like 4 siblings, I think. And her dad gave them at like 10 years old. He didn't actually give them the property, but he gave them a property in terms of you learn how to manage this at like 10.
Oh,
so they
like
each
just
got
as one
a property.
Is like a trial run. Oh,
they
that's
each got a property, and from 10 years old and on, it was their job to manage it.
At 10?
I mean, I'm sure the legality and stuff like that when they were younger, they started at steps. Like, okay, you're 10 years old. This is what I'm doing. You're going to go knock on this door, and you're going to give them a lease agreement.
That's fascinating.
Right? And dude, that was incredible to me. I'm like that put a huge smile on my face because all I thought was, that's how I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give my kid, not give him the 500 grand worth of equity in the house, but give him the job of managing the house
Yes.
at a young age, 10 years old. That's not too young to give them a task like that. You just, hey, hand this lease agreement. Okay, cool. They're 11. All right. You're gonna go and explain to them what they need to sign now. I'm gonna be with you, but you're gonna go explain to them, right?
Imagine an 11-year-old explaining your lease agreement to you.
Yeah,
That's laughable.
It's laughable. I get it, but you know what? It could be the cute factor, right? If you have the right kind of tenant, that's like, you know, the Tuscan Village tenants that are paying $4,000 or $5,000 a month. They're there because they just have money to piss away.
Yeah.
So if a little 11-year-old's going up to you and talking, they think it's adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't bring them to match.
No. There's some interesting people
Yeah,
there.
yeah. No, I mean, I want to still.
No, but it teaches you those skills at a young age. And it actually that reminds me of when I used to sell fundraising cards for my football team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't realize it back then, but I was doing door-to-door sales with those cards. I didn't realize it. I just wanted the friggin' cash prizes and the hoodie and the hat and whatever it was. But they taught us those skills without us even realizing it.
Yeah.
And it's similar to having your 11-year-old explain a lease agreement to a tenant.
Right.
You know?
It's the early stages where it's like, you don't remember that memory, but you remember the concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you might remember the memory, but you don't remember the intricate details of it, but you understand the concept.
Yeah, and as like a 16-year-old kid, learning how to cold approach someone at their door and dealing with rejection.
Yeah.
Those are powerful lessons.
Very, very. Rejection's huge. Rejection's huge. And rejection's similar to shame. It's in the same category. And I say this all the time, is there's also not enough shame in the world. I think that people would be better with rejection if they felt more shame when they did something wrong. Right? And I know the two are sort of disconnected, but the ideology behind it is just like, in both instances, like even with rejection, I mean, the reality is every deal is closable. So there's somewhere you went wrong. If you have that ideology, whether or not that's true, that's a different story. But having that ideology in and of itself just says like, okay, there's something I could have done that I didn't, right? And the same thing with shame. It's I did something I shouldn't have. It's that idea that
and you're missing to make those mistakes.
You have to.
Otherwise, you can't learn it.
It's imperative.
You know?
And you have to make the big mistakes.
Like, I've had deals that I haven't been able to close, and then looking back on them, I'm like, you know, maybe if I had said this, brought up this point, talked to this person sooner, there's a million different ways that you could have saved it.
Right. And
but you have to deal with that rejection.
You do. It teaches the lessons. And like the thing about that too is, this is why I love podcasting so much, is when I see an imperfection, I can just run to the computer and fix it. But in real estate, like, you know, that's different. It's like, shit, I made that mistake. I got to wait for the next client now to bring up, and I need to experience another issue with this down the road so that I can see if that was the real issue, right? And like if it's something I can solve. It's much more prolonged in real estate.
Yeah. That's something Kyle talked about, is there's no instant gratification in this business. I didn't understand that coming in. I really didn't. No. With my background, it's you hand someone their drink, they pay you.
Right.
Done. Transactions take months.
Yeah.
Completely different story.
Yeah.
So.
And then they fall apart like at the very end. Oh yeah. It's sad. It's sad. It's a sad reality when you get into it.
I think a lot of people come in, they think it's going to be easy, and it's just not.
Well, that's
really
what we were talking about. This is why I have this, because I don't want to scare people, but I want to tell them what you think is going to happen is not going to happen. Understand that if you listen to the people that I'm having on here, you're going to learn so fucking much about the barrier of entry. It's not even funny. If you truly listen to your experience, cases, right? Andrew's, Kyle's, everybody that I've had on here, they had their own way of getting through the barrier of entry, and not one of them has said that getting into their industry was an easy 1 year to success. None of them.
Not even close. And I'm not even there yet.
No.
I'm really not.
No. It is also how you perceive success. It's like, you know, some people
I'm nowhere
would call
close
one
to where I
deal
want to
success.
be.
No, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Like, you shouldn't feel like I don't feel happy with where I'm at right now. That's what pushes me to be where I'm at, right? Doesn't mean I'm not happy that I've gotten to the point where I'm at. I'm sure you feel the same way. It's
I'm grateful for how far I've come. but I'm not going to get content.
No, it's like I'm still not there yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not happy.
I
with
want
this.
to stay uncomfortable.
Right.
I want my back to be against the wall because then I have to go out and perform. Pressure creates diamonds.
Yep.
You know?
Really does.
Like
it really does.
I want the pressure on.
I love that quote. I like your mentality with a lot of things too. Like you just a lot of it resonates with me just because it's the no bullshit ideology.
Yeah.
It's just like
I don't know. I've always been a straight shooter.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
I am too.
You know, if someone asks me something, I'll tell them honestly. That's the way I go about things.
That's interesting. I don't know why I said I have too, because I haven't too. I've been the complete opposite. That's funny. So you've always been like a straight, blunt, straight shooter?
I mean, I used to be a lot more introverted, but yeah, I think I've always been pretty straightforward.
Yeah. That's interesting. Because usually people who are young aren't.
Yeah. They like to hide behind whatever, but
Right.
I don't know. I'll tell you whatever you want to know, you know? That's just kind of how I operate.
You need people like that. Like I need to know like.
And I think that helps with relationship building too.
Absolutely.
If you can be open to someone, they'll be open to you.
There's a difference between being a dick and being honest. It's like
yes.
You don't have to be an asshole to be honest. It's like if somebody comes up, and this is the problem, and I laugh.
It's always it's a lot about how you frame it, you know?
It is. No, it seriously is. And the problem is people think being honest is being blunt, unwarranted. It's like, no, you didn't need to tell that girl she looked fat in her dress. But if she asked if she looked fat in the dress.
See, I don't know.
No.
That's a time where I might not be honest.
No,
I might not be a straight shooter there.
Listen. That's what I was going to bring up is like a girlfriend. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
There's some things that, I
said, it's how you frame it.
It's how you frame it.
I think you might look better in this dress.
Yeah, even that, bro. With the girlfriend, I'm just talking like a girl in general. The girlfriend, bro, you look beautiful in anything.
Yes.
You look beautiful in anything.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that dress is awesome. Oh, the other one, great too. All of it. It's awesome. But like, no, yeah, maybe the girl looking fat in the dress is a bit of a stretch. But
yeah.
but the idea behind it is like, I'm not going to tell you look bad. But if you ask me if you look bad and I think you do, I'm going to tell you. You know
That's
what I mean?
fair.
Like
That's
I just won't give unwarranted advice. Sometimes I will. But
ask and you shall receive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, you shouldn't have asked me. I do that all the time with people. Like people get sometimes people, usually the closer ones with me, will get pissed. I'm like, you did ask.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna like pat you on the back and tell you what you did was smart. It was stupid. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like that's the most respectful thing you can do.
Agreed. If you value someone, you'll give it to them straight up.
Right.
You know?
Like just if I'm looking for advice, it's because I'm looking for something constructive. So like if you're not going to give me anything that I can construct with, what was it for?
Like I'm not going to let you destroy yourself.
Right.
I'm going to tell you what you're doing is wrong.
Right. So you've always been like that. That's really fascinating.
I don't know if I've always been like that, but it's definitely the way I am now.
Yeah.
I like to think.
How's it worked out for you?
Good.
Think
Good.
it's
like I
bettered
said,
relationships?
being open to people allows them to be open to you. I think that's why I'm able to build rapport with people very quickly.
Yeah.
I tell it how it is.
You think that came from football and coaching? Like
Ooh,
tough coaching?
no, I think it came from bartending.
Really?
Yeah.
People dogging on your drinks?
Oh, yes. I've made bad drinks before. I'll be the first one to own
Yeah.
up to it. Like, yeah.
How'd you learn it from the bar?
In terms of like being open with people.
Well, open in the way of just like blunt honesty.
I think when you talk to so many people, you get to a point where like you don't really care what they think about you. So I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
You know?
That's interesting.
Like I said, I used to be a lot more introverted, but after having so many different conversations with so many different people, I've become confident in who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to present my thoughts as opinions openly.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah. You're willing to present your thoughts as opinions. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, I'm not narcissistic enough to think that it's whatever I say is fact.
Agreed. Like, I know my shit stinks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I know I make mistakes. I'll be the first to own up to it. I always tell people when I'm wrong.
Right.
I'm willing to accept that and immediately improve, reiterate, get better.
You know what's weird? I don't know if you feel like this. Do you ever feel Not an, addiction's the wrong word to use, but it's the only one I can think of right now.
Like addiction to self-improvement, you mean?
Sort of, to being wrong.
I don't know about that.
The reason why I say that is because I tend to feel more content when I was wrong about something, because when I'm right, there's usually when you're wrong, there's a definitive result of your wrongdoing. But when you're right,
it's like yeah, I knew I was wrong.
I knew I was wrong. Versus when you're right, sometimes it like
I don't know. I don't like being wrong. No one likes being wrong. You know?
it's not a matter of liking being wrong. It's more of like so if you were cold calling a bunch of people and you had a whole day worth of voicemails, or you know what, even better, you have a whole day worth of like 5 people who are like, yeah, follow up with me, versus the whole day of people saying, no, I'm completely okay, I do not want to sell. You're happy at first with the follow-ups, but then it's like it's out in space.
It's open-ended.
It's open-ended.
Yes.
Like you feel that.
If you get a no, you know it's a no.
That's what I mean.
Move on to the next.
Like I said, it's not an addiction. You just tend to feel more content with it.
I kind of see where you're coming from. It's almost like you're saying, I like a no more than a maybe.
Because
it's definitive. Yes.
And
as an analytical guy, that makes sense.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
See, I feel like I'm a little more loosey-goosey.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Go with the flow.
But you seem to have like a...
I'm a fucking chameleon, bro.
Really?
I've come to learn that. I can chop it up with anybody. I can fit into any social setting. Yeah, I might look like I might be the oddball in the room, but like I can kick it with anyone, man. I really can.
That's cool. That's cool. Like
even if they don't speak my language, I'll find a way to vibe with them.
Really? Not a fluent Spanish speaker?
¿Por qué?
There we go. Yeah, I took it for like a semester in high school and completely bombed it.
I just talked to my Colombian neighbors, bro. He taught me this one the other day. Que tengo un buen día. Have a good day.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, no, anytime I see him, I always try and I at least make an effort. To them it's probably terrible.
Yeah.
But
I always thought that they like got pissed off about that. Like when
I feel like they're like, oh, who's this American think he is?
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, well,
as long as they don't think we're making fun of them.
English. Well, that's what I mean. It's like this isn't malice. There's no malice behind this. I'm just trying to like, trying.
Unless there is malice.
Well, for me.
And when I do it, there isn't.
That's what I mean. Like,
it's
for
genuine.
me, there's no
like
malice.
When I go to California Burritos, I walk in, I'm like, hola, Jose, ¿cómo estás, mi amigo?
They probably love that, though. Because you're in there enough.
Yeah,
you're in there enough.
They know it doesn't come from a place of hate.
That's what I mean. It's like, this some people probably are. But, like, for me, it's like, if I'm going to try it, it's because I genuinely mean it. But it's like, I feel like most people don't perceive it like that.
I don't know, man. I love Hispanic culture.
I do too.
Right?
Well, I went to
the
Central
food,
Catholic,
the people, the way they go about life.
Ton of like it was a huge Spanish culture at Central, and dude, it's awesome. Like the quinceañeras. I don't even know if
I've never been to a quinceañera, but
bro, they're like it's like a Sweet 16 on steroids. It's just crazy because it's like that Spanish culture, dude. It's awesome. They're awesome, but it's like I don't know. There's that line between like. I get like I don't want to appropriate it or you know if that's what they think.
Yeah, you gotta be careful
on.
what you say nowadays, right? Isn't that a shame?
It's a shame.
What happened to free speech, man?
That's out the window, I guess. It's like it's still free, but it's like I'll just get my ass beaten if I say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's like, is it
like
really?
We were talking about earlier. People are just soft now, man.
Yeah. And like they think the worst in people, which is funny. I was listening to a Bill Burr clip, and he's like, he started off his special, and he's like, I've been traveling a lot. It's like I'm really seeing the worst in people lately. But it's like
Bill Burr's a riot,
dude.
bro.
I love that guy. I listen to his podcast too.
Tim Dillon too. He's funny. I like Tim Dillon.
Who's Tim Dillon?
He's been on Joe Rogan a million times. He's a bigger dude. I think he's a Boston guy. I want to say he is.
Okay, I'll have to look him up. I like Boston.
A little heavier set.
Okay.
He's funny. He's like sarcastic.
Okay, I'll have to look him up. I like Bobby Lee a lot too.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
He's the really ugly Chinese guy that like everyone makes fun of.
I think I know.
It's so funny because he takes it so well. But like Andrew Schultz, like chirped the fuck out of him in a clip that I saw earlier. And I was like, dude, I was just pissing my pants. But
that I just had an interesting thought. Is what type of content do you try and consume?
My whole feed is gym.
Naked girls.
Yeah, pretty much. No. Unfortunately, this usually the only time it's like something like that is when like one of those meme pages pops up. It's like follow her. I'm like,
It's garbage.
like garbage. I'm like, I got better shit to do.
Yeah, right.
Most of my feed is boats. I'll go in order. It's like all real estate podcasts, just like self-improvement content, but more like business analytical content, like true economic content, things like that. Then it goes down to like more of the podcast, the Hermosies. He's usually filtered in, and then like comedy, and then boats and some entertainment.
I find it really easy to get sucked into the loop of just consuming the short form. Like, it's so easy to get sucked into Instagram Reels. I don't use TikTok. I really don't.
I deleted it.
Yeah. I'll post a clip on it every now and then, but I will not watch it.
Yeah.
But the Instagram Reels, it's easy to get sucked in, and all of a sudden, before you know it, 30 minutes have gone by, an hour's gone by.
Yeah.
But which is why I like to try and focus on the longer form stuff. I feel like you get more out of it. You get to know the creator a little bit better.
You do. You know what it's good for is I find a podcast that I like, and then I look at the episode, and then I watch the episode.
Yeah.
Or listen to the episode. Like, I'll go from there. But I agree. I find myself scrolling through Reels. Like, I've learned how to manipulate my feed, though.
Mm-hmm.
You can really manipulate it. So when I go through, like, I feel less bad now scrolling through Instagram, because I'm like, what I'm seeing is all like positive self-improvement type business oriented content. So it's like I always learn stuff. I send myself video. I'm always actually a lot of my content.
Oh, you send yourself stuff.
Well, so I save stuff, but I'm a big saver, so I have like 16,000 posts.
Yeah,
saved.
see, I'll save stuff and I'll never go back and look
so
at it.
So the really important ones I DM to myself.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that before.
That's how I filter it out, because I don't make folders. I don't have time for that. I just hit save and scroll. But yeah, so like there's certain like editing things that I want to watch, or certain lead gen strategies that are like that's some of the best content I've seen this week. I'll send it to myself.
Crazy.
You should do that. It like really filters.
I'm going
to
start doing that.
Yeah, because like my brother, he has like 200 posts saved. Wow. I'm like, he doesn't save anything. So like for someone like him, he could do that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I assume your feed's the same though.
Yeah, for the most part. I like the conspiracy theories. I get sucked in, bro.
Yeah, dude.
There's pyramids in Antarctica.
Bro.
You know that, right?
Bro, I've seen that fucking Nat Geo documentary. Like when I have busy work, sometimes I'll go on YouTube and just turn on the playlist of like the old ancient pyramid documentaries. I'm big into like
I find it
ancient
fascinating,
times.
bro.
Dude, I think that
I feel like it gives me a better understanding of where we came from.
Absolutely.
You know, and I've been searching for that my entire life.
Yep.
That meaning, that sense of purpose.
And I think, I think that you need to see it on a scale to understand, like we're not here for our purpose isn't here for the 100 or so, 80 so years that we're on the planet. Our purpose was much wider than that, because our purpose lives on through legacy. And I think it's important to see what legacies have been built prior to us and how they've been built, so that we can formulate our own. But I'm big into like just Greek mythology, but more just like.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire? Have you seen that?
I saw that, dude. I'm on the side of like 3 times a day, bro.
I'll give it at least a few times a week,
dude. I'm thinking
about those aqueducts.
Yo, dude, that's what I mean.
Those gladiators,
the architecture. That's what I love about that stuff.
Yes,
that's what I love.
I took Latin
about
in
that
high
stuff,
school,
dude.
bro.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that was fun,
dude. That would have been awesome. I love that shit, and I think that it's a good break. And it's a productive break. It's not a distraction like too far away, because actually one of my favorite things, if I wasn't a real estate guy, I'd be a psychologist. I love psychology. I love Aristotle. I like Socrates. I like Plato, and I like, like ancient rhetoric and where that comes from. And that type of stuff to me is fascinating too. And so whenever
I would agree with that. It really is.
It's out of this world. Like some of the things that these people came up with, where you're like, holy shit. Like you think about it now, trying to figure out psychological concepts that.
See, we're spoiled.
Yeah,
we are so spoiled. We have access to everything
Mm-hmm.
all the time. It was different back then, you know?
It's like going back to the architecture. They read the stars from like little holes in a stone wall, and like, dude, the conspiracies on like the what are those called? The solstices, and how
Yep.
they line up perfectly. I'm like, I don't know. I get into like the alien conspiracies too, because like all that lines up and they're like, aliens were here. I'm like, listen, I don't know, but this is sounding a little too crazy.
The one that I've gotten so deep into over the past few months is Graham Hancock's theory that there was an ancient advanced civilization that was wiped out before our time.
I agree with that. I think
the timeline he puts it is they were wiped out like 12,600 years ago, something like that, through a great flood. You ever heard the Younger Dryas impact theory?
No.
That we went through the trail of a comet and it caused massive floods and ecological disasters that wiped out the last advanced civilization. So that's the theory I've been getting into lately.
I've never heard that one, but the one about an advanced civilization, like I've heard theories about the pyramids being like 12,000, 13,000 years old, not 6. Which
they're older than we think.
I think they are, and
the way they were constructed, I think they may have been using some technology that we don't have access to.
They had to have been, because like they say like the stones are placed so perfectly you can't even fit a piece of paper between them. Like, bro.
And I mean, all we see today is the ruins. We don't see what they used to look like.
That's what I mean. We see them rounded, beveled edges.
Yeah.
Like, imagine when it was cut.
They were so precise.
And the other thing too, I'm sorry, but like, we can't get a truck to move more than a 20,000-pound trailer.
Yeah.
How are they moving 100 times? Like, some of those blocks, some of them were lighter, some of them were but some of the size of this fucking room.
See, dude, they just must have been able to like resonate vibrations and like frequencies to make things move. That's the way my brain puts it together. Is they were able to manipulate the frequencies of the molecules around us.
That's interesting.
To make things move.
Talk to me about that. So like,
I don't know, bro. I'm not a pyramid expert.
Oh, I didn't know if you listened to a video on it.
No,
so
bro.
You came up with this.
No, I've heard other people talk about it before on podcasts, but like they were just able to make things like levitate because they were able to manipulate the frequencies with whether it's sound or whatever they were using.
Bro. That's a crazy theory.
Yeah.
Because like in theory, like if I held up like even those rings that you hit, like if you hold it next to a penny or something, the penny moves.
Mm-hmm. You smash an object together, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe you like set off a detonation. I don't even know, bro. I'm spitballing here, but that causes the airwaves to move, and it picks up the object. I don't know. It's like magic, bro. It's like magic.
That's crazy. Because like I don't believe any of like what they did is anything that like I think they lived completely different lives.
We're on a different technological path than whatever ancient civilization preceded us. Our path is like internal combustion engines into tech. They were like frequency vibration.
I think that they were using the nature of the world more than we do. I think we
we're
try
like
and manipulate.
Smash a rock into it, make it move.
I think we try and change the nature.
Make the rock move itself.
That's what I mean.
Dude,
that's crazy that you say it that way, because that's always how I've thought about it. I've said it's not that we don't have the capability of being there, but we just took a different path.
Yeah.
So like we don't, like I said, our things are, how do we change nature versus them? They could have been like, how do we manipulate it? How do we use what's here? They thought more efficiently than we did. You know what I mean? Like, because I almost think like when I think of those advanced civilizations, I also don't think of like crazy lights and screens and everything. I think of very basic civilizations with crazy engineering behind it. Like all of them still wearing those weird clothes, like barely any clothes, and like a bunch of slaves, but still somehow moving a rock, levitating.
And maybe they were more spiritually in touch than we were. I
think so too, because
I think our society today is very out of touch spiritually.
Dude, that's not.
And you see it everywhere you go.
Yeah, I went to Catholic school, so I had the blessing to be able to be around people who like really kind of were in touch with that side of things. But the second you leave those two doors, it's a hellhole. Like I listened to one podcast and it's a comedy one, so it's funny, but like they're two like pretty much atheists, and so many rights, and it's like some of the shit that they say, it like it's not, I'm not even like a huge devout Catholic, but I'm like, okay, I like to at least respect all the religions. Bro, we've gotten to the point where we don't even respect them. Like there's
we
blatant
make a mockery
disrespect.
of them.
Yeah, it's blatant
And I will not
disrespect.
stand for that.
No, like if you don't want to believe in anything, that's completely fine. It's in
I'm
your own right.
I'm a proponent of free will.
Yeah, but
do your thing.
the second you start like mocking God and stuff like that, it's like, dude, come on. Like this is not. I don't know.
See, I've been working to strengthen my relationship with God, and I think it's had a profound impact on my life.
Yeah.
You know, because it makes me feel more aligned and in touch with the work I'm doing when I have a divine purpose behind it.
I like that.
Rather than just doing it.
Yeah, I like that. Let me pause 1 second. I just gotta go get my charger.
Yeah, send it, bro.
Yeah, out of every guest I had, I did not expect to talk about pyramids with you.
Yeah, bro, we're getting into pyramids. God, holy shit.
It sounded like a Rogan podcast.
It
right
is.
now.
See, it's mids only.
There we go, dude. Honestly, I might have to change the logo up there. We're on some mids only time right now.
Where do we go from here?
I don't know. I think it just rolls. That's how we do it now. I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna talk about half the stuff we wanted to get to, and then we'll have to do a mids only one.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna end up.
We're gonna have to run it back.
Because I have a couple guests that I'm like rescheduling with because we have more. Like I had a psychology major. He's one of my best friends, and we have one scheduled next week, and it's gonna be another 2-hour long psychology podcast.
Yeah. See, bro, like they always go longer than I think.
Way longer.
Way longer. Like you finish, and you're like, wow, that was 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just didn't stop.
Like what are we at now?
I couldn't even tell you.
1 hour 30.
Yeah.
Like
it's wild, bro.
Like
so a point I make all the time on my episodes too is, when do you ever get to sit down and talk to someone uninterrupted for this long nowadays? Mm-hmm. You don't.
Nope. Doesn't happen.
You don't, which is the point I made earlier. Podcasting is such a unique medium.
Right.
It really is.
And you get so something I love about your podcast is like you get various guests. Mm-hmm. I've had, and this is, I love everybody I know, everyone in real estate, but I've had like six agents on here. How do you find all these various guests?
Interesting question. They're just people from my network.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I have a pretty extensive network in the area.
Yeah.
And I just know interesting people. And I mean, I'm not afraid to send a cold DM to someone and say, hey, I think you'd be a great guest.
Yeah.
You know?
I got into that a little bit. I have one tomorrow it's a virtual one with an agent from New York.
Really? See, I like to do it in person. I don't know if I'd want to do a Zoom podcast. Can you still get stuff out of it? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think there's just a certain value from speaking to someone one-on-one.
I agree.
In person. Like we are right now.
I mean, if I had the money, I'd travel over there. It's just I followed this kid for a while now, and honestly, he's not like an influencer. He's just like God.
How do we get to the caliber of those deals is partially my question. And I don't know the answer to that. You probably don't either. We're still so young in the game, which is why we always need to keep learning, reiterating, improving.
Well, one guy I listened to.
Because you can get to a certain point and not be able to break through that barrier until you learn one piece of information. All of a sudden, you're
That's what it takes, just one. Like one piece of advice. And there was this guy who, I don't want to butcher the name, so I'm not going to say it. But he was at an investor meeting we went to. And, it was a shame. What the hell happened?
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
As long as it's still recording.
Yeah, no, it's recording. I was
Works
just
for me.
looking at the TV. It's weird. Like turned off. But there was this guy who was at an investor meeting we went to.
You want to watch the Barbie movie?
Yeah, let's get after it. I want to pop that on. I don't know why it popped off, but
you're always gonna have technical difficulties, you know.
Always, dude. That's why I wish I had somebody like in the background who was just
like on Joe Rogan, a Jamie.
Yeah,
you need
dude,
a Jamie.
You need a Jamie.
Jamie, pull up the clip.
Dude, I need that. You know what I'm gonna do is.
But then you gotta pay someone to do it, you know.
I'm gonna hire a virtual assistant.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna do.
See, I'm not at that point in my business yet where I need people to delegate tasks to. Eventually,
I think
I'd like to get to a point where I will need to do that, though.
I don't think you know when you're there.
Uh-huh.
I think like you don't think that you're there yet until you're like, shit, I'm there. Or like, or I don't even want to say it like that. I feel like you get to a point where you don't realize that you need it until you get it.
Yeah, and then it frees up so much more time and you can scale.
Yeah, exactly. Or you do it when you don't think that you need it.
Uh-huh.
Like I've had a few calls with virtual assistant companies because I might hire a cold caller or two.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm not there in terms of like the income and needing to necessarily pay somebody full time. But the other thing too, it's like if whatever I pay this person is half what or a quarter of what I make an hour, let alone like what I do in my self-employed world, but just like my active income world. Like if I can go make X amount during my day every day and pay half of that to all my marketing expenses that are also taken care of throughout that time period, you know what I mean? It's like then I'm still making money and I'm saving myself all that time. So when I come home, I don't have to do cold calls. I can still continue to build the foundation of my business while somebody's doing that while I'm at work.
Yeah, and then you can just go pick up those leads because they're already in.
That's what I mean.
You know?
That's what I mean. It's like I can just, instead of doing the cold calls, I can look at my CRM and say, oh shit.
See, I think that's part of the cycle is first you learn the processes, the systems, perfect them.
Yep.
I think that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
Learning the processes, the systems, and perfecting them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to a point where you only have so much time and you can only do so much. So how do you scale? Right. You automate, you hire.
You hire. And I think.
And those are new skills you have to learn.
Yeah.
Hiring.
Like
I haven't had to
doing,
learn those yet.
Yeah. I think this steps to hiring. I think you hire internationally and then domestically. Like I'm doing international VAs.
Mm-hmm.
So like.
It's probably cheaper.
Oh, well, that's what I mean. That's why, like, if I hired somebody in America, I couldn't even afford to pay them.
Yeah.
But, like, hiring somebody over there, it's so much cheaper. So I can justify hiring them because I'm buying back my time at a cheap rate.
Yeah. That's an interesting way of looking at it.
So I look at it from that point of view. It's like, what am I, like, I don't know. I look at it like you do yourself a disservice because a lot of people have to make that choice. Like, do I quit my job to pursue my business, or the only reason I don't is because then I don't make any income. It's like you can do both at the same time. It's like I want my business generating or building and generating all day long. But if I can't be there for 8 of those hours, how can I make sure it's still building while I'm not there? From the get-go? Because the reality is you want to build a business that works and runs while you're not there.
Systems.
And systems. And I don't think that you should build systems after you've taken every job on yourself. Like I there's another side to that. I'm big on you can't tell the janitor how to sweep a floor before you've done it yourself.
Agreed.
But at the same time, it's like I think you should build systems early in your business, very early. I think there's things that you should delegate before you necessarily think you should.
That's an interesting thought.
Because it's like what happens when you get to the point where, because business owners tend to become control freaks the more success that they have, right? Because then they get set in their own ways and they're like, my way works. If you set systems up early, number one, you buy back the time and you 100% expedite your success. And number two, you never get to that point that you think everything you did was right because your success to that point had led up to on the backs of other people as well. So you can't take it all for yourself.
Another point too is when that comes up, you're not scrambling to put those systems in place and doing a half-assed job at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you took the time in the beginning to perfect them, they're already there. Mm-hmm. They're already set. Rather than when you need them, you just throw something together that kind of works.
Yep.
It's better to have it set ahead of time.
Yeah, something my stepdad's always said is it's better to have it not need it than need it not have it.
Yeah.
And it's
I hear
like
that all the time, but it's true. It's
yeah,
true.
If you can,
there's a lot of platitudes that are so true.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and they're cliche.
I don't like that word platitude, but
I've never actually heard that.
That's like a saying. I think that's the word for it. It's like a saying that someone says all the time, like
a cliche.
Yeah,
saying.
Yes, a cliche.
It's just a very
that's another
specific
term for
way
it.
to say it. And yeah, it's like I hate those. My biggest pet peeves when people say it's a small world. Like it's a small world if I see you in like Europe. and I wasn't expecting to. But I hate when I see people at the grocery store in my town and like, oh, what a small world. I'm like, we live in the same town. It's not a small world.
See, that offends me because I say it's a small world all the time.
Yeah, well, dude, don't say it to me in a grocery store. But if we see each other in California, I'd be like,
That's a
all
small
right,
world.
that's a small world.
Yeah.
That's a small world moment. But
That's one of my go-tos, bro.
well, dude, it's great for like networking, bro. Like that's perfect. Like that, like those sayings. Like yesterday, my mom answered the phone and put it on speaker, and it's like one of her lifelong best friends, who's I call my aunt, and she was like, I was like, oh, how you doing? She's like, oh, living the dream. I'm like,
I hate that
I'm
one.
like, dude.
See, but those are like word tracks that we get sucked into, and they're
Yeah.
scripted, and we use them all the time. It's like the, hey, how are you? Good, how are you?
Right.
Word tracks.
Right.
And I mean, scripts and word tracks can be helpful in a lot of ways, but you don't want to overuse them.
Right.
Like when I'm talking to someone on the phone, I want to come off personable.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Like you
Like
almost.
I want to relate to them. I don't want to just read from a script.
That's
When
the
I'm
thing.
cold calling, I have my script there, and I'll like kind of look at it, but you got to know it.
Right. You gotta know, like, you really gotta memorize it.
Yeah.
Um.
And you have to be willing to think on the fly too, because
Yeah.
the conversation could go down a completely different path, and you
And
got to be
can't
ready
plan
for it. Yeah.
And if you're way too into your script, then you didn't think of, like, you were so into autopilot that you didn't actually think of the content of what the other person was saying. You were just responding with generic script responses. And so by the time they say something that's not the response isn't on your script, it's like, wait, what were they even talking about? How do I answer this
Yeah.
now? I don't even remember what they were talking about.
See, the script is proactive,
Yes.
but you need to be reactive.
Yes. Absolutely. Perfectly put. Like, you need to make sure that your script is only a guide. Like, this outline is just a guide. If I sat here,
Same thing with the podcast notes.
right? If I
bullet
sat here
points.
and I said discussion points, all right, starting share and inspiring.
Yeah, like who wants to
You
listen
know what
to
I mean?
that?
No one wants to listen to that, but I
They
can
want to
refer
listen to
back
us talk
to it.
about pyramids
And like, yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, you're the first person that's ever added a note on here, so I didn't even think to look on
oh
it.
yeah, what was that question? 'Cause
Yeah,
I said I
so
liked
this-
that question.
Yeah, so this is perfect. So, jumping back into the podcast topic, how do you blend your mids only lifestyle philosophy into your approach as a realtor?
I had an answer for this earlier, but it's gone now. I think it's like a lifestyle thing. Like I've kind of the persona I've given off throughout this whole thing is like go with the flow, fun guy, loosey goosey, straight shooter.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm on, and kind of how I've been on for a little while now.
So like people know who they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. And like the same way I podcast, like just chopping it up, talking about serious stuff, but keeping it light.
Yeah.
Is the same way I go through a showing. You know, chop it up.
That's perfect.
Talk about the serious stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that rotting floorboard and the mold right there and the potential for the roof caving in. But I'm gonna make jokes about it. I'm gonna be like, yeah,
Right.
yeah, you might be having Thanksgiving dinner and your roof's coming down.
Yeah, dude, I do that. Dude, I've had clients though that have been like, I feel like they've taken it as me dogging on the properties that they're seeing, and I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to like dog on the property. I'm in so many words telling you this is not for you. I'm trying to make it like, but I've got
I
that
really
vibe.
care for my clients.
Yeah.
You know?
You have that I don't. Like you have that genuine like really personable type of mentality or personality
Mm-hmm.
that like I don't as much. So I think that sometimes I could probably come off as a little more like just cold, because a lot of my jokes are like crass jokes, so they come across as very serious sometimes. Like I'll make
It's
a
probably
joke.
because you're an analytical guy too.
Yeah. Sometimes I can make jokes and like laugh, but sometimes they're like out of left field type jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they don't get it.
And some people don't get it, and I'm like, oh.
Then you gotta backtrack.
Yeah. You're like, I didn't mean that. I did not mean that horrible thing that just came out of my mouth. That wasn't horrible in my head, but whatever. We all have our own way of doing things, but no, I like that. Yeah, there's just something about this podcast space that, put aside like the medium of it just being able to go raw, right? Like just raw conversation and all the rest of the things that we talked about. Put that all aside. Like it's the new wave of getting content. And the reason I started it, actually, there were a few reasons, but the reason I even thought the idea of starting a podcast was I was like, I can't sit down and make 30 different videos so I can post every day.
Mm-hmm.
But if I make a 2-hour-long podcast
Once a week.
easy,
Easy.
how many clips I can get out of that?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the original purpose. And then I built the mission behind it. And now I don't even do the clips as much as I'd like
Neither
to.
do I. I've been slacking on the
I've been
clips,
slacking.
bro.
Dude, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I need to hire somebody,
Yeah.
but it's too expensive. And
See,
if
and I don't really see the reward from the clips either. Like if a view, yeah, great. Is it a lead? No.
No.
It's not.
No, and like you can't. I feel like you can't go for viewership on the podcast.
No, you can't.
You can't. Because it's like
I don't care about the views.
no.
What
I
I
don't either.
want is dedicated viewers,
Yes.
relationships.
Yep.
People that tap in and listen to my vibe, my wavelength, my persona for an hour,
Right.
rather than watch a 5-second clip and forget about it.
And I think it's a good way to like get to know Steve, get to know Tyler
Yeah, for
before you
sure.
know them. You know what I mean? It's like you. I don't know. Like you have these ideas about actors and actresses, and like at least for myself, I never think that they're genuine people. I always think that people are putting on a face. But with people who podcast, I don't think that. I do not think that they're because like you just hear
Mhm.
fuck ups during the podcast.
Yeah.
Like you hear, people admit that they're wrong. You hear people at their very most authentic
So
selves.
raw, like, yeah, I'll stutter.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say something that makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
Yeah, I'll run on a long sentence and just have nowhere to go with it.
Yeah, exactly. And just be like, I have no idea what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
That doesn't get cut out. That stays. And I've had guests on here who are like, oh, you can cut this out. I'm like, no, it's staying.
Yes.
It's staying.
Yes.
Because
it
I'm
has
like,
to.
I'm like, you don't want to come. We're not making a movie. We're chopping it up and we're posting it so
Mhm.
people can listen to our conversation. We're just trying to have a public conversation. That's all it is.
I'll cut something out if like it's gonna ruin someone's life.
So that's what I do. I only cut things out where
But
it's
I'm
like,
not gonna cut you out stuttering.
no.
It's staying.
It's staying.
Sorry.
Th-
That's you.
I almost want to like sign a waiver. Like, hey, any mistake that you make aside from detriment to your life is staying. Like, if you say something like if somebody came on here and said some like wild out of pocket shit, I might be like, okay, I'll cut that out because that, could get a whole community offended.
Yeah.
But like, other than that, yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I think people appreciate that. I really think because I do. I appreciate listening to a podcast and saying, I don't know this person, but I feel like I know them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I know a little bit about them, and I can trust them.
Goes back to that social proof thing.
Yeah, I think it's the best way. I even think like the videos, like making videos that are scripted and posting them. Yeah, sure, it's great because you know what you're talking about, and maybe it's high quality film, and it's something that's content filled and it has purpose to be talking about.
And I think there is a place for those.
They're absolutely
in the
they're
business
very
model.
informative and it shows profession, but in the
I want to
sales
see a
business,
mix of mediums though.
exactly.
Right.
So you can see that somebody is very professional, knows their shit in and out.
But is
Just
also
personable.
Joe that you can go grab a drink with.
Exactly. And less even like who they are as a person, but know that they are just a legitimate person.
Yeah.
And what they come across as over the phone is what you're going to get in person.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, and it's huge too. And like not doing a solo podcast, but doing an interview podcast where you just get to shoot the shit with somebody. You see somebody in their natural social sense too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so like I've had people on who like our personality types are either alike or very unalike, and like my voice has been completely dominated the entire podcast. Like I don't get a word in edgewise, or the opposite.
Yeah.
You know what
See,
I mean?
I've had both.
Yeah.
So some episodes I need to carry more of the load. Sometimes you let the other person go because what they're saying is more valuable than what I have to offer.
Right. Right.
And I'm willing to recognize that on the spot.
Mhm.
And you kind of have to learn as you go too.
And you need
like-
to have a mission.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if somebody's saying something that's beneficial to your audience and what you were about to add is not as much of a benefit, no need to say it. Right? Like let them talk. Let them, because at the end of the day, I'm not doing this so I can sit here and play it while I go to sleep. Like I don't want to.
I don't even listen to my
Yeah.
episodes.
No, I don't either.
I don't have time for that.
I only
was
do it
there
editing.
speaking it, so yeah, I know what I
Right.
said.
You know what's crazy though? When I edit it, I go through and I'm like, I know exactly what I'm about to say, which is crazy. And like I was doing it the other day. I'm like,
You got like an audiographic memory.
Bro, it's crazy. Like, I knew every word I was going to say, and I'm like, this was a 2.5 hour long podcast. How do I know?
Because you said it.
Because I said it, and I'm like, that got me thinking, too. It's interesting, because it's like, I don't remember, like, the conversations necessarily. I remember some conversations, but not all of them. It's just human nature. We don't remember everything. But I'm like, where in my brain is that, like, audio in verbalization that I had, if that's even a word? Where is that, like, ingrained in my brain?
I don't know. The brain is a beautiful structure.
It's crazy.
It doesn't make any
and
sense
we only
to
use
me.
like
I can't wrap my head around
5% of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that true?
I think it is. The only reason I say that is because a lot of our brain is used for motor function.
Yeah.
So when they say we only use 5, what I think they mean is we only use 5 for our like mental and emotional side of the brain.
And see, where was I going to go with that? I think a lot of it is you get out what you plug in. And what I mean by that is the molecules that come into your body have an effect on what you use your brain for. The food you eat, whatever's in the water you drink, caffeine, nicotine, THC, LSD, psilocybin.
The psychedelic,
like, so many different molecules that affect your cognitive function.
Yep.
So when you wake up in the morning, your brain might be moving at a certain speed, but as you go through the day and you eat that cheeseburger, it changes the way your brain's reacting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Constantly maintaining.
Or you drink a cup of coffee, you're a little more in tune.
Are you a big coffee guy?
Oh my God, I'm addicted to caffeine.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's horrible. It's horrible.
I do enjoy coffee though.
No, you guys are all Celsius.
Yeah, we're on the Celsius.
You're
hard,
all Celsius.
Bro. I think I've had 2 today.
Yeah, I do 3 large black coffees a day, and I just get wired up and then crash. And as I'm crashing, I falling asleep on my way to Dunks, and then I get another one and I'm wired again. You ever take a caffeine nap?
Cycle. A what?
A caffeine nap?
Oh, like a crash?
No, so a caffeine nap is when you're tired.
I'm not familiar.
So it's when you're tired. You could be in a crash, but it's just when you're tired. You chug a cup of coffee, and then you take a 20-minute nap.
Oh, and then you wake up and you're on your game.
By the time it hits you, you're up. So you already got a nap in, and you're just wired.
I'm a huge fan of the 20-minute power nap.
Oh, dude. No,
I used to live on the 20-minute power nap.
I'm not, because it doesn't turn into a 20-minute nap.
See, I set like 5 alarms. You have to.
I set 5 or 6 in the morning.
Me too.
But I set 6 on my phone, and then one it's called the Sonic Bomb.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
Oh, dude, it's like it's so loud to the point where my brother used to come in my room and like slap me across the face and wake the fuck up and turn this thing off. But I don't use it anymore. But it used to have a pad that went under and shake the whole bed.
Oh my
dude, that
goodness.
Like I'm a deep sleeper, so like it's getting me awake is like impossible. But the caffeine naps are crazy because you just wake up wired. You know what?
I might have to experiment.
I don't know, though. Tell me this. I used to be a big nap guy, and I had problems. I would get sleep paralysis when I would nap. And lucid dreams. Like crazy.
I've had a handful of experiences with lucid dreams. I wish I was able to tap into them more. So I feel like I get a lot out of them. There is a way.
And they're
long time ago, years ago, I did some research into it, and I would like try and get myself to lucid dream, and I didn't have success with it, so I kind of stopped doing it.
You really got to be into it, but like I've never been able to get myself to do it. But I looked at it too, and it's like you need to be like really into it. But it's so beneficial.
Oh yeah.
Like if you set yourself up the right way, you can tap into things like, and I'll bring this up because I'm not worried to bring this up. I like here and there I'll smoke weed, and
I'm glad you said that.
Breaking the ice, of course. And so, well, of course, mids only.
Yeah.
But, and what I've noticed is some of my best psychological theories are broken down after I smoke. And I don't know why. I mean, there's obviously a number of different reasons, but I think it's similar to lucid dreaming in that, it's like anything.
Like I said, the molecules you consume put you in a different state of consciousness.
Yep.
And allow you to think about problems differently.
Yes.
And do things differently.
Yep.
So when you smoke weed and you get high,
It's
you can wrap your head around stuff you weren't able to wrap it around before.
That's what I mean. It's like a very complex topic is just broken down. The problem is I always forget it. So like I started like writing in my notes.
Weed is not good for your memory.
No, it's not.
It's not.
So it's like it's just tough because it's like you don't want to abuse it just like anything else. You don't want to like turn to a pothead. But I definitely think there are times just like anything else. There are times where it's good. It like it's beneficial, right? And
it's all about your relationship with that compound.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're doing it all day, every day, probably not good.
And it's intent too. Intent's huge.
Yeah. Like, are you doing it to avoid your problems, or are you doing it to think about your problems in a different way?
Yep. That's huge. Or like even people just like for the longest time, I just did it to sleep because I just couldn't fall asleep. And I'm like, listen, I it's 1 a.m. I got to be up in 5 hours. I gotta fall asleep.
Just knock me out.
Just knock me out. But yeah, I just get caught up for like a half an hour thinking about like how Aristotle came up with his theories, and then I break down.
You ever heard of the stoned ape theory?
No.
That's like Joe Rogan talks about it all the time. I keep bringing up Joe Rogan.
No, but go ahead.
It's like the monkeys. I'm gonna butcher this. The monkeys started smoking pot and doing mushrooms, and that's how we evolved. That's the premise. It allowed them to think differently about their environment and problem solve.
I wouldn't put it out of the picture.
Yeah,
something like that. But imagine though, imagine all of this was all from a bunch of monkeys just smoking.
Who's to say it wasn't?
Dude, that would be wild. If we had like, cause you know how you could go back if you could travel faster than the speed of light, you could see the Earth through a telescope in the past.
Yep.
Imagine like being able to do that and looking back and just literally seeing evolution happen in some of these theories come to fruition. I think that we're overthinking traveling the speed of light and concepts like that. Like you were saying about the stone and using the vibrations. I think it's more along those lines. How do we manipulate the light? Like Einstein, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard about Einstein. Like a wormhole.
Yeah.
So Einstein thought a lot about that, but one of the coolest things about Einstein is he would go into a trance. So they actually don't. There's this weird theories about Einstein too, like that he's not human, because they said when they studied his brain, it was, he was 80 when he died, and it showed 0% deterioration, and they had never seen that in anybody ever, and it was like twice the size of the normal human's brain. Zero deterioration. But the other thing they said is he would lay on his bed, or this may have been a different philosopher, but so they all these crazy philosophers had different ways of getting into this trance state where it was like a hypnosis state. And Einstein would picture himself riding on the wave of a light beam. And that's how he would come up with his theories.
I can't even wrap my head around this stuff.
That's what I mean. But it'd be like lucid dreaming in a way. But he'd be like standing on a wave of light.
Conscious lucid dreaming.
Yes. Not even conscious, but not. Yeah, it'd be like a trance state. So like he'd be conscious, but he would be like hypnotized.
There was this book I started reading like a year back. It's called Reality Transurfing.
That's probably what it's based on.
I made a couple chapters into it, and I kind of just never got around to finishing it. I might have to tap back into it.
What's it called?
Reality Transurfing. It's a lot of these theories that we're talking about, like lucid dreaming, consciousness.
I'm gonna have to buy this because that just already sounds.
Yeah, just the name itself.
Yeah, that just sounds.
Holy. You know, my dad used to always say,
$75
really
for hardcover, 58 for paperback.
I think I got it on the Kindle.
31.
Damn. Sorry, Mama. I probably used your account. Something my dad used to always say is you can judge a book by its cover.
Oh, yeah.
Because if they're not going to put something on the outside that's good enough, the stuff on the inside probably isn't worth looking at.
That's a good point.
I think that can be said, too, for how we present ourselves as humans.
It's so funny.
With the clothes we dress, the way we speak, the way we relate to other people.
Yep.
If you can't do that at a surface level, what's underneath probably isn't any good.
So it's funny you say that because I actually have a reel that I'm posting in an hour. That is that. It's first impressions, but it's like people think that the first impression is the first thing that you say, and it's so
That's a
wrong.
small piece of it, maybe.
I don't even think it is. I think that people judge you upon the first glance, and the first image they have of you is whatever emotion that invokes. It's now your job. If it's a negative emotion, it's your job for an indefinite amount of time to reverse that emotion.
Yeah.
And you never want to start off from a place where you need to work to get to baseline. If you start at
you
below
don't want to start
baseline,
behind the ball.
no. And so like the biggest thing I tell everybody is, if nothing else, you could be the ugliest motherfucker on the planet and have like the most raggedy clothes. If you could just get yourself into the gym and just get your body to look presentable, that shows a lot about your habits. It's huge. Like it's like if you I'm not even saying you need a good physique. You just need to look like you're in shape.
Yeah.
So people know this person
At least
eats
look
well.
like you're trying.
Look like you're
You know?
trying. And I think the gym's a good way to do that, because the gym is very challenging. It's a very challenging place if you put the work into it.
That's where you can build mental toughness. Forget the muscle.
Oh, hell yeah.
Showing up every day.
That's what I did.
That's the battle.
That's why I went, just
Yeah.
for the mental reasons, let alone the physical. But it's like, that shows a lot about somebody. I've always inherently just had more respect for somebody who is in good shape.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah.
Across the board.
I mean,
or
that's
athletes.
that's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
If I don't want to offend anyone, but like if you're fat, that shows a clear lack of self-respect.
Yep, I say that in the reel. I talk about fat people, so it's like I don't care to say it.
Listen, I got love for everybody, but your appearance does matter.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying you can't be thick boned. I'm saying if you walk up,
Boned.
yeah, I mean thick bones is different. Like somebody who is just
He's got big bones.
he's got big bones. Like, but you see somebody like just some of these huge like linebackers or something. You know what I mean? Like they're just big dogs.
Yeah.
But like they can like put on a suit and still look like they're in shape, even though they're just big. I'm talking about the dude who has to get a triple XL shirt, not because of their height, but because their stomach is actually, I saw one guy, he had a plate of food on his stomach one time.
Wow.
And I'm just like, dude, that is such like honestly, I was at a loss. I had no idea what to say.
You got to present yourself accordingly,
Yeah.
especially when you're in sales, customer service. I don't know if you know who Andy Elliott is.
Oh yeah.
I've been consuming his content like crazy lately, and he preaches first impressions, like you were just talking about with your reel. Someone's already got an opinion on you less than 3 seconds before they see you. Yeah. After they see you. So you got to bring the energy. You got to give him a big smile. He's always like, hey, how's it going? Hope you're having the best day of your life. Blah, 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 blah. Like, you got to bring the energy, especially when you're meeting a client for the first time. Shake their hand with a firm grip. Smile at them. It goes a long way. More than the words you say. If someone feels like they can trust you, they will work with you.
Yeah, it's your aura.
Yeah.
It's more about aura. It's like the persona you give off. And like
it goes back to vibe, frequency, vibration.
It's all
stuff,
of it.
And it's stuff we can't see.
It's all of it. And that's why like
you can tell if someone's good intentioned.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can just sense people.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
You can pick them out of the bunch. And that's the more successful you get, the better you get at that.
Yeah.
And that's why you
develop
judge
a sense
book by
for
its
it.
cover.
Yes.
Because you see somebody and you say, I don't need to waste my time with them. All right, I'm done with this TV.
I don't care.
Yeah, this is kicking off. You don't need to give everybody a chance if you get that feeling. And usually your intuition's right.
It really is.
More often than not, your intuition's correct.
You should trust your intuition.
I'm big on it. No, Andy's cool though. Remember the video he made the guy take his shirt off, and he's like, "Are you happy with this?"
Did he really do that?
Oh, you never saw the video?
No.
So
that's wild.
He pulled somebody up. He made him take his shirt off, and he actually wasn't even like too fat. He just had a lot of love handle. And, he had some some cleavage, but
Dude, I'd love to go to one of his live events.
I actually
the way he
I booked
teaches,
a call with
really.
I'm following up with them in a week. I kind of want to do it, not the live event right away. I wouldn't mind going to the live.
Bro, you want to go out to Scottsdale?
I'll do it. Nobody's ever wanted to do stuff like that. I would 100% go out.
Let's send it.
Let's do it.
I'm with it.
I'll just have him like bring it over. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, dude.
See, dude, but like he puts people on the spot.
That's what you need.
and he doesn't care. He's so confident. You could throw anything at him and he'll handle that objection.
Right.
That's to the point I'm trying to be. I want to be so competent and so confident that someone can throw any objection at me and I can spin it right back around and give it right back to them.
Yes. And in those situations, I think the trick is to release all the pressure. Pretend you're in your own world for a minute, because it's like when you have the pressure and you're put on the spot and you're trying to think of something on a whim, you can't do all three at once. You need to remove something, right? Because you need to think on a whim and you need to give them a response in a timely manner.
Yeah.
But
you can't just be,
right. And you do that because you have so much pressure. It's like, no, remove the pressure for a second and remember what you're trying to do. You're trying to give this person a legitimate answer up front quickly, so you can either close the deal or just provide them more information so that they can get closer to closing the deal. And you know, it's a skill set, and it's like it's a lot of mental. I really think like his training camps are crazy. Like that, they beat the hell out of you, and I would leave there with so much like positive. I mean, this is the best way possible. Positive shame, like I'm not shit. I need to pick my shit up immediately.
And then you go back and you 10x your business.
That's what I mean. It's like it's all for a good purpose.
Yeah.
You're not doing it so that you can get ripped apart. You're doing it so that you can become a more competent business person and bring value.
Like we were talking about, like you always got to be willing to learn. There's always more to know.
Always, yeah.
Never stop growing.
Always, yeah. Yeah, you're a lifelong student.
Straight up.
I love it, dude. We covered a lot of the shit in here.
Yeah, bro.
We'll have to get a mids only going though.
We'll run mids only. Do you do like a question at the end, right?
I do.
Yeah, that's what I was looking forward to most, bro.
Yep. So
I can't steal that idea from you though. That's so unique to you. I think it's phenomenal.
Take
though.
it. I took it from a podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like if you want to bring value out of people, go ahead, dude. I love it because it gives people an opportunity. It puts people on the spot too. Not you, because you knew about it. So you probably already thought of a question.
Yeah, because I listened to an episode.
Yeah, so you probably already thought about it, but like a lot of people don't. So they have to think of a question. And
I mean, whatever question you're about to read to me too.
Yeah.
I got no idea.
I think I made a mistake telling you who my last guest was. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I don't know.
All right, perfect.
In one ear, out the other.
Perfect. So my last guest asked 2 questions, actually.
Okay.
So you get 2 to answer. At what point is enough, and would you relax or continue to push for more?
Depends on the way you look at life. You can get to a point where you have enough and you're happy with it. And you can say, okay, you know what? I got everything I need. Let's tap out. Let's just enjoy this ride for as long as we can. Or you can go and go and go and never give up. And I don't know which camp I fall into. I'm still so young.
Yeah, it's early to tell.
Yeah.
Do you think,
I mean, I'd like to think that I'm always going to go. But at a certain point, you only got one life. You know, you got to enjoy it.
Well, it depends on what you're shooting for, too.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of what I like to call immeasurable goals. And it's just essentially setting goals that, like, they have no definitive end. So it's like I'm not going to, instead of basing my whole business endeavors on making it into a 9-figure business, instead I'd rather be mission-driven, where it's something I can wake up for day in and day out. And maybe enough is enough when I hit 100 mil, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to still carry out my mission of creating a high quality product, right? I might just stop growing at an immense rate. So it's a variable question.
That's a great question, though.
Yeah.
Who left that one?
I'll tell you after I ask the second one.
Oh, shit. I thought that was both of them.
No.
Okay,
no, that was the one.
Let's go.
Oh, my handwriting's bad. Does that say okay. Have you ever chosen passion over health?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
If you want out of the ordinary results, you have to make sacrifices, and sometimes you have to sacrifice your health.
Yeah. Imbalances.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm a little bit on the other camp.
Like we talked about with the time scale of balances.
Yeah.
Like, I'm willing to sacrifice my youth now so I can enjoy my life.
Right.
In that previous question, I think I fall more into the camp of at a certain point, enough may be enough. And
Right.
let's just enjoy this for what it is.
The fiscal side of it.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I said, there's the mission side where I think when you build a business
Yeah, see,
based
the
on
mission, I will never give up on the
Right.
mission. But at a certain point, money's just money. You got everything you
Yes, exactly. So like, yeah, financially, that's what people confuse. It's like, I'm never going to stop growing my business, but it's going to be for the right reasons. I may hit a
Yes.
point financially
need.
where I say,
Not
I'm
just
done.
for the money at a certain
Right.
point.
Right. But I'll never stop growing it because I think it's a bad thing to do is to stop growing. Because if you stop growing your company, then you didn't believe that it had enough impact. Why would you strip something
Yeah.
away from people that has an immense impact on
Mhm.
people? So if you build it on the premise that it's going to have such an immense impact that it would be detrimental to pull your business away from society, then number one, you have the pressure you can never stop. Well, maybe it's not you that's the operator anymore, but you need to make sure that whoever is put in place carries out your mission as well. But furthermore, I think it gets you farther along when you have that idea that this is a Japanese type business. This is going to last 800 years. Like the oldest company in Japan is like 1300 years old.
That's crazy.
They don't do quarterlies and they don't do decade goals. Like they set their horizons and they do their forecasts for quarter, year, 5 years, 10 years. The Japanese, they don't even look.
It's a different philosophy.
It's a different philosophy. They don't even acknowledge a quarter. They don't even acknowledge a decade. They do things on 100-year horizons.
That's more than a lifetime for some people. That's wild.
They have like, I want to say 2,000 or 3,000 companies that are over 500 years old.
That's insane.
Unreal. And they build.
That's older than the United States.
Yes. They're ancient businesses. And
imagine how they've had to change over time too.
I
Because
don't
there's
think
no
it's
way they're still selling the same product.
No, they're
Like,
not.
Absolutely no shot.
Well, like if it's a food product, then
Yeah,
they're
see, that's
always
one
selling
thing.
it.
But the
But-
business has to evolve, otherwise it's gonna die.
And I think that goes along with the mission of like, I'm not building this for quick wealth. I'm building this to be adaptable. I'm building this to be like a malleable business.
Yeah.
And that goes with what I was saying with adding the systems in place early. I'm building this so it's malleable. When I get to the point where I need to pivot, I can pivot quick. I'm not going to be the type of guy that's market turns into a shit show and now I'm no longer an efficient operator as one person and I need a team. I want to make sure that I can, when I need to pivot, I have a team behind me that's put in place and we can all pivot. We can move around. We're like Play-Doh, you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
So that's the goal. That was
It's
Waylon.
fascinating.
That was Waylon who asked those questions.
Wow, those were good.
And I just
Kudos to him.
Yeah, he thought of a couple good
Smart
ones.
guy.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
taught me so much.
Dude, I was just sitting here fascinated. I met him last year, and his growth in the last 12 months has been insane.
That's how I'm trying to be.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that guy. He's really making something of himself. And just the other thing too, because I didn't even get to this, but so the audience knows, you started out. I'm going to start from when you started bartending, right? And what was sort of that journey, if you want to just kind of summarize it from that point to now, like in terms of getting your license and why you got your license, how you got involved?
I mean, obviously money's always a factor, but I want to help people, you know? And the bartending, it can be slimy work, you know? You just get them drunk.
Right.
It's not fun. That's not helping a mom and her 2 daughters get into a place for housing. It's a different feeling. But I mean, obviously it's money driven to a certain extent, but that's not why I do this. The reason I got my license too is I was looking for direction. I dropped out of school, and for that year I just put my head down and worked and worked and worked. And then all of a sudden Josh shows up at the bar one night. And it's like, oh, blah, 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 what do you do? What do you do? He's like, oh, I'm in real estate. I'm like, oh, I've kind of thought about getting my license. So I do it. And then I get into the office, and it's great. I feel like so much of it has just fallen into place.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't even have to try for it. It's just fallen into my lap.
Right.
A lot of it. But at the same time, I did work for this. I did strive and try and reach my goals.
Right. You look at it from like that big picture and you're like,
yeah, a lot of it just happened.
Right.
You know, I woke up and I'm here.
And what was that barrier of entry like for you? Just getting into the business, not even the license itself, but like
I think
whatever you perceive as the barrier.
I think my biggest barrier so far has been learning the processes and systems.
Mhm.
I can do the people. I can do the customer service. The
Mhm.
sales skills, some of it comes natural to me.
Yep.
But learning like what a pre-approval is and how do you submit an offer and
Yeah.
learning the purchase and sales agreement, I think that was a lot of the barrier for me.
Okay.
And at this point now, I'm beginning to get a firmer understanding of those systems and processes. And now the new barrier is how do we get high quality leads into the business?
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's like the data that I'm working with. It's like, it's expensive for data. Batch leads is cheap, but then you get into some of this data that's like $1,000 a month, and it's just for data, right? Not even skip traced. It's just for addresses.
You got to convert it.
You got to convert it. So that's not. But the part about it is like those quality leads, like you were talking about. The viewership on the podcast isn't an issue. It's the dedicated viewers, right? It's like it's the same thing with some of this data that I'm dealing with, and it's like you have to pay the premium to get data that is, it's called predictive data, and it's AI infused, and it just essentially predicts who's going to sell in the next year or not, and it's ranked. And usually they're right. 9 times out of 10, they're right.
That's incredible.
They take like thousands and thousands of demographic points down to like the gym membership that you have. Wow. It's crazy. And I don't see that on the consumer end in terms of the buying the data.
Yeah, that's all their back end.
It's all their back end stuff, and they buy this data from all different areas. But like whenever you hit whenever you hit accept the privacy policy, 9 times out of 10 those companies are you're accepting them selling your data.
Oh,
and that's
for
another
sure.
income stream that I didn't realize from companies is they can just sell your data.
Yeah.
And like that's another way they make money. But the point I make there is like I'd rather spend like $12,000 a year for data that is like the turn rate on that in terms of like warm lead is like 70%, and send out a quarter of the mailers and spend all the money on the mailers and do it backwards, right? So when you were talking about quality of leads, like there's ways to look.
You got to be willing to put up some
dough, and it depends. Do you want to send out a shitload of mailers
or send out a fewer mailers to higher intent?
Right. It's like you make the choice, and so
that's an interesting point.
Yeah. Both ways work, right? If you want like exposure and you just your face out there, then send out all the mailers, blanket mailers. But if you want to make sure that you're just optimizing your mailer spend, because the data works for a very long time. The mailer, once you pay that, it's gone until you send another one and pay it again. But the data, you'll always have those data points for the rest of your life. Yeah. They'll always be there. So it's a one-time fee, and then you get the data. So it's just something to think about. I think that's a good avenue.
That's great.
But yeah, so
to answer your previous question, though, is like I said, I think a lot of it fell into place.
Yeah.
And I just kept my faith throughout the entire process.
Like the blind faith?
Yeah, exactly.
And what was that like? Was that a confidence in you, or was that just a shot in the dark hopefulness?
Confidence in myself, knowing that it's going to work out, but also trusting in the unknown. Yeah. Things just have a way of working out. They really do.
The unknown's like...
It's scary.
It's scary, but
exciting. Trust it.
Exciting. It's like you make what you want of it. It's like I don't know, I've always thought of like the unknown as like a super flat Minecraft world. It's so dumb, but like I've always thought of it like
3 layers of dirt and 1 of bedrock?
Maybe a normal one.
Okay.
Normal. But yeah, just like endless opportunity. Just like you can make whatever the hell you want. Because that was my first exposure. Like in all reality, just being able to like go and do whatever the hell I want and build something out of nothing. It's like legitimately Minecraft, as stupid as that sounds. I would just sit on there for hours.
Oh yeah. No, it makes sense. Because this thing we call life, it has a game-like quality to it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean by that? Yeah. It's like I feel like I'm playing a video game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I spend my points, I gain experience, I learn new skills, and I reach new levels.
It's called
a game.
Level Up.
It's a game.
It's like did we steal Level Up from games, or did games steal Level Up from us?
Interesting.
You know what I mean? It's like I look at it like we're the original game, and we just put it into technology. I don't know. We're on some.
We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we covered a lot of stuff. So now it's your time to shine.
Okay. I asked this question to one of my guests on one of my most recent podcasts, and I really do like it. Do you think, or here, we'll put it this way. Do you believe this statement? You either have it or you don't, and why? I asked that to Trevor on the last podcast. I thought it was
I knew I
interesting.
recognized that.
Yeah.
You either have it or you don't. And what was that second part?
And why? Do you believe that someone either has it or they don't, and why?
I like that a lot.
Boom, mic drop. Dude, this has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I appreciate the hospitality, inviting me
Absolutely.
into your home.
Absolutely, man. Soon we'll be in like a match studio and it'll be a little closer to home for you.
Right?
So
I'm with it.
that's the plan, man. But anything else you wanted to cover, throw in?
No, I'm tapped out, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome.
I
Man.
think that was phenomenal work by both of us.
I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Both ways. Great meeting you, Steve.
You too, brother.